Morning, DC. Here we go. The Cincinnati Bengals, Virginia Cavaliers, victorious this morning, and so are you. You made it to Friday. I should say the Atlanta Braves as well, celebrating their fourth straight NL East Division championship with a sweep over the Philadelphia Phillies. We might be in a good mood this morning. Welcome in. I hope you are. Just a little ways away. Let's see if I can do the math here. So 24 hours, we get us to 6 o'clock tomorrow. And then you got to go 6 more hours, get to 12, and then 3 more hours. So by my math, about 33 and a half hours away from Gamecock kickoff for game number 5 with Troy tomorrow afternoon at 3:30 or so. That math sound about right? Did that add up, Patrick?
Yeah, I was going to say 21 and a half, but that was going to be wrong. I was adding up for 12. That was too many things. Adding time in my head is horrible. I hate it. There's actually nothing worse. For 3 years, we always do the 24-hour clocks in radio, and then at my other job too, it's always 24-hour clock. And someone tells me 1700. I have no idea what time it is. I have to actually count it out on my fingers still to this day. It's brutal.
As a Nationals guy growing up, and you're one of the very few Nationals guys. Like the Nationals have been a team your whole life, pretty much.
No, because I grew up. The Nationals came around in 2007. So, right. No, I grew up. My childhood was always in Camden Yards. I was a big Orioles fan.
Okay, but when you were 12 then, right? When they came into existence?
Yeah. So, I mean, in terms of really knowing the game and watching it and knowing all the players and all that stuff, but in terms of just being like a young fan going to games and only just caring about one game at a time, I guess when I was like a big picture sports fan and knew the playoff race and all that type of stuff and really knew the game, I became a Nationals fan. But yeah, as a young kid, all my memories are at Camden Yards. That's why I still harbor some love for the Orioles, because I never cared about the Ravens. Don't like the Ravens at all, because Redskins were always there for me. But I did grow up an Orioles fan, so it's hard to just shoo them away.
Ooh, I can respect that then. See, I grew up a Braves guy. Growing up in North Carolina and growing up in the 80s, when you had very few options to watch baseball. TBS had the Braves on, and there were like just tons of Braves fans out there, not necessarily because of the proximity. Like Atlanta was the closest Major League Baseball team, and Baltimore was the other one to me. But just the access. You had the Braves and you had the Cubs. And those were really the two national cable channels that put baseball on all the time. And absolutely loved the Braves, and they were awful, very much like the Orioles have been in the 80s. Man, it was Dale Murphy, and that was about it. And they were so bad for so long. And then the 90s hit, and it was just a completely different thing. And so now to have seen 14 division championships in a row, to have seen that end, and now see 4 more in a row, is absolutely incredible from my perspective. I'm wondering how you see it from the division rivals perspective, and not too far removed from a World Series championship there with the Nationals a few years ago.
I just think it's crazy. I never realized the last few years how popular the Braves really are, because I didn't really think about them in the Northeast. But when you look at the MLB teams on a map, it really is crazy how there's just essentially one team in the Southeast, or the Deep South as we know it. Like, yeah, there's Florida, but Florida's kind of its own thing. Yeah, there's Texas, but Texas is kind of its own thing. But like the greater SEC country, it's just the Braves. It's kind of crazy. So I assume everyone in like Mississippi and Alabama are Braves fans too, right?
Yeah, that's how far it goes. Yeah. It's crazy.
And the Carolinas. So yeah, there's so many people that are Braves fans that aren't a fan of any other Atlanta teams, which is just wild to me. But I really don't know. I don't know what I thought about the Braves growing up. Like, I never thought they were never that good. I never remembered like any star players from that team. I don't even know who. I'm trying to think of the oldest Braves player I can remember, like from when I was a kid, and I think I'm thinking of Andrew Jones.
Wow, that hurts.
I think I had his baseball card from like a Sports Illustrated for Kids magazine, and he was the first Braves player I can remember knowing his name.
That's amazing to me, because I think Andrew Jones is my age exactly, or maybe a year older.
And you know what? He only stands out because I know that his Andrew was spelled with a W, and I thought that was weird. So maybe I just took note of him extra. But I'll always just remember that, just being confused. Like, did they spell his name wrong on the card?
I'll never forget him setting the record for World Series home runs as a rookie or whatever it was as a 19-year-old. I think that was in 1997. And I was a freshman in college and basically the same age watching this guy start his major league career and then seeing it all the way through. And he and Jackie Bradley Jr., I feel like great examples of guys who just do it different. When you see them in center field and they catch the ball so casually is not the right word. Naturally is the right word. Like, so just make it look so easy. But both of those guys stand out in my mind. But to watch last night, 4th straight NL East title, and especially this year, man, to do it how they did it with Acuna Jr. going down, with the Marcell Ozuna mess off the field and not being able to play, the Mike Soroka not being able to come back from that Achilles injury, just incredible. I mean, I don't know what else to say besides that. But if you're not a Major League Baseball fan, I get it. It's a long season. It's a little bit slow for sure. If you're not a Braves fan, certainly understand. But if you are, this season has been about as good as it gets in a lot of ways, just because of overcoming all the struggles and getting back to that championship when it looked like that was about the last thing they were going to do at one point. It's just we talked about spoiled fan bases, I think, earlier this week from a college football standpoint and from a Major League Baseball standpoint. The Braves are way up there for regular season success. Now, can they have any postseason success is the big question mark, and where franchises like the Nationals have certainly had a lot more success and in their fewer chances. So I consider myself a spoiled Braves fan that is just about as happy as possible this morning after a 4th straight NL East division title. Bill, I saw you nodding your head over there.
It's neat. I think we've covered this a couple times. I lived in New York for a little while. My mother had leukemia, and we were at Sloan Kettering Memorial Hospital when I was at about 9 and 10. And I got to go to a lot of Yankees games and kind of became a Yankees fan because of that, and had been to a bunch of Braves games as well. I've actually that year, unfortunately, she ended up passing away, and as kind of a treat, I had some family members that were able to set up a tour of the clubhouse, the dugout in the clubhouse, and I have pictures with Tom Glavine and Steve Avery and Ron Gant. That was in May of '92, actually. And so I've always been a Braves fan too, and certainly when they went on their run. I mean, I still, Tim, have memories of worst to first, and what was that? It was '91. My dad running into my room after Sid Bream. I was asleep because I was 8 years old, and but my dad running into my room and yelling he scored. We're going to the World Series, and yeah, of course, 8-year-old Bill was very confused and discombobulated. Who scored? But who's going to the World? We're going to the World Series. We're going to go play in the World Series. What's happening? And of course, they ended up losing to the Twins that year, and Kirby Puckett and Jack Morris. But yeah, it's neat to see. Certainly, Tim, I was thinking about it, and I hopped on right as Patrick said his oldest Brave is Andrew Jones, and I was thinking David Justice, Ron Gant, Steve Avery. I mean, those are guys that weren't, I guess, Justice and Gant, but not part of the classic 2000s. That was that was Javi Lopez and Chipper and Andrew Jones. We forget Kenny Lofton was a part of those teams in center field. Again, Patrick, I think an Otis Nixon reference would have been.
Chipper should have been the answer, but I did look up. Chipper and Andrew Jones both started their careers with the Braves before I was born, so they were at like their peaks as when I was a very young kid. So it was just a matter of whose name I heard first. It might have been Chipper. I think I have one of Chipper's cards at this in this box right by my feet too. But I only know David Justice from the Moneyball movie, so that's probably gonna hurt a lot of people's feelings too.
Who else are we forgetting?
Just to rub it in.
Ryan Klesko. There's some Ryan Klesko in
Never
there.
heard that name before.
Nice. See, Bill, I feel like you're a generation ahead of me here. I know we're only 4 years apart, but I'm a Claudell Washington, Dale Murphy, Bob
Yeah.
Horner come to the Braves, Bruce Benedict back in those days, Rick Mailer and all the. Rafael Ramirez. I can go down the
Who
list.
was it? Well, no,
I really thought it was cool that Glenn Hubbard was coaching with an assistant coach with the Fireflies this year, knowing that I grew up with him being the second baseman for the Braves.
No, yeah, I'm with you. I mean, again, 4 years at that age is significant because you were picking up much more at 10 than I was at 6 around that time. But Dale Murphy, was it who was the guy who threw the palm ball? I think it was a closer that they had that come in, Joe something. Joe, I'd have to go.
I don't remember a Joe. See, I remember it was Rick Mailer was the ace, and then it was the closer that never worked out for the Braves. He was really, really good before coming to the Braves, and I think he got hurt. And I'm trying to think of his name. David said Phil Necro, and that's not who you're thinking of.
We're still going.
He was the knuckleballer. And a little bit before that, Justin says, this is my favorite opening segment ever. The Atlanta Braves are America's team. And David also
played
said,
this game with the Orioles too. Sidney Ponson, probably the first pitcher I remember from the Orioles.
I didn't want to say Joe Beaver, but Joe Beaver, yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
And who am I thinking of? You guys I'm gonna be mad at myself for not. Jan goes to Mark Lemke and Jeff Blauser. Yep.
Those good ones.
Middle infield guys after Rafael Ramirez and Glenn Hubbard there. We're just going way down the old memory vault here, and I'll come up with the other name I'm thinking of in a little bit. But nice to shake off those old cobwebs and bust out the old Braves history. But this year specifically, man, Brian Snitker deserves all the credit in the world, and the front office for going out and making some moves and getting Jock Peterson and some bullpen help. And what they did down the stretch here, man, absolutely incredible. And I'm going to be that guy again, Bill. This is the thing in sports, right? No matter how hurt you get, I feel like it's a Gamecock football thing. No matter how discouraging the last season was, or maybe the roster looks, or what Vegas thinks, or whatever, come back around to it. Braves got in the postseason. Got a chance. I'm going to convince myself that they have a chance to go win a World Series. And then inevitably, I'll probably be disappointed. And man, last year up 3-1 on the Dodgers, and then blowing that series was tough to swallow. Maybe this will be the year. Thank you, Nick. Bruce Sutter. That's exactly who I was talking about. You got a call as well. Well, thank you guys. I apologize for getting you in a bad mood already this Friday morning, saying that idiot doesn't even know what he's about. 803-404-6100 is how you can help out the show, just like that. You can call or text. You can hit us up also on the live video stream on Facebook, YouTube Live, where a bunch of you guys have already weighed in. Bobby Cox and Joe Torre, Jan's weighing in with some other old names as well. Let's see if Gamecock Lucas is in a better mood this morning on the Love Chevy phone lines. Lucas is
there. Total quiet around your house right now. Is everybody giving you the proper respect and space that you need to get on the radio this morning?
Yes.
Okay, good news.
Yes,
good news.
sir. Brothers are not yelling at each other.
So
yes.
It was your brothers that you were getting on yesterday, not your parents.
No, my brothers. Yes, sir. They wouldn't turn their own alarm off.
Lucas, do you get yourself up in the morning?
Do I wake myself up?
Yeah. Or do your parents wake you up?
No, I wake myself up. What's my alarm?
What time do you set your alarm for?
6.
6. Impressive.
I used to set it for 5:45.
Wow.
Understandable. That's what I do.
Rest is very important. All right, Lucas, what are you thinking about? I'm guessing the Gamecocks this morning?
Yep. So I think, like they said, the running game, once again, we need to get the runs for these quick yards. They don't always have to be the first down runs. They could be the 2 5-yard runs just to kind of run the clock down at a point. So whenever we score, there's less time for them to score. If we could just try and watch them, like our defense needs to watch the running backs as they come. They don't need to focus on everybody else around them. they need to pick a spot on the running back and just lock their eyes on them so they could see whichever way they go. Because normally the running back will go try and juke you out the same way. So, and then with our wide receivers, just need to watch the ball whenever they catch it.
Good advice from Lucas today. I'm glad your brothers are giving you some space and you're off to a good start on a Friday morning. Good to hear from you, sir. 803-404-6100 is the number. Strong work, Lucas, from Papa Joe there, who's dropping other names there. Greg Maddox, stolen from the Cubs, Braves guys. A lot of you guys have weighed in with similar names, some that we haven't come up with. Terry Pendleton, Raphael Belliard, Fred McGriff. Oh, yeah, the Fred McGriff acquisition. Somebody hit up there. That was a big turning point for the Braves. Big turning point.
Well, it was when the stadium caught on fire.
Yeah, that same night.
Team caught it. I think they won. I think that was when they won 14 straight. The stadium caught on fire. Braves caught on fire and won 14 straight. I think it made a big run to win the East that year.
Rich says, don't forget about Bob Horner. Yeah, him hitting 4 home runs in one game. I feel like that's for some reason really sticks out in my childhood. Charles, I think, was a little bit before me. He says nobody looked more redneck than Terry Forster. Okay. Jerry goes with Hank Aaron, Orlando Cepeda, Rico Carey, and Felix Milan. Yeah, those are a little bit before my time, but I feel like you can gauge a sports fan or certainly a Braves fan by some of these names. Mark Limke's popped up, and Matthew from Landrum was all over Patrick for saying Andrew Jones instead of Chipper Jones. You explained it pretty well. You explained it pretty well. Yeah. Anonymous Texter just hit us up, said, remember this 30 years from now when Gamecock Lucas is our head coach winning national championships. And Andy says, Terry Pendleton turned you guys around big time. The Braves will fall short, though, due to the lack of pitching depth, he says. I do believe it's the Giants this year. Growing up a Mets fan, the Braves have always been the enemy, but I've always admired the way they conduct business and run a class organization. However, short of championships, they might have not won. That's from Andy this one.
Patrick, you'll like this. I just, as I'm scrolling Twitter, this came out from Bally Sports South last night. I guess the home of the Braves, the regional network. Did you see the Bryce Harper line for the series against the Braves, the key series? Have you seen this? His stat line?
No. Was it terrible?
0 for 11 with 5 strikeouts.
Love it.
And so do Braves fans for sure.
And he has 0 World Series as well.
Celebrating the 4th straight NL East Division Championship. Some Washington Nationals fans might be celebrating a little, what do you call that? Personal redemption?
I don't think we care as much about Bryce, though, because we won the World Series next year. So it's more like it'd be sour grapes if the Phillies were better and won a World Series with him. But, we got it the very next year. So it's more of a sucks to be you situation.
That's not sour grapes.
No, I mean, he's got $330 million. He'll be okay.
Yeah, he's doing all right. 803-404-6100. Let you hear a little bit from Shane Beamer. Last night, Carolina calls. When we come right back, get into more of our Gamecock football discussion. Poll question, we'll get that up and rolling at Tim Hill 1075. What you think is going to happen tomorrow with Carolina and Troy at 3:30. Just getting started on a Friday morning. Tim Hill, Bill Gunter, Patrick Barrett, Jen Jensen, all with you. It's the early game on 107.5.
107. The Game is omnipresent and free of charge. In your car. Online. On the app and streaming on your smart speaker. 107.5. The Game.
Did you guys see how the Miami game ended last night?
With the short field goal off the upright?
Yeah, but Miami was down 30-28. They got the ball on their own 9-yard line. Virginia pinned them. They got the ball on the 9-yard line, went on a methodical 15-play, 75-yard drive over 5 minutes and 36 seconds, only for their kicker to doink a 33-yarder to win the game.
I just saw the missed field goal. I didn't see the drive.
I mean, they played it perfectly. They drove 15 plays, killed all of the clock, kicked the field goal as time expired, and it should have been just an easy, perfect walk-off, and kid just blew it.
Yeah, because I put out a few tweets. I was watching. I fell asleep, but I was thinking about the NIL deals. That dude, how's that gym owner right now feeling about the bring back the U and paying all those players? Oh, you're on
It was
mute.
without Derek King too.
I was gonna say, like, De'Aaron King obviously didn't play much last night. All those NIL
He didn't
deals
play
he's
last
got.
night.
Huh?
He didn't play last night.
That's what I just said.
You said he didn't play much.
I said he didn't play last night. He hadn't played well either. Tim, you're on mute. Apparently, you chose to mute yourself. I couldn't unmute you.
Yeah, I didn't want you to hear the blowing of the nose. King's hurt though, right? That's why he didn't play.
Yeah, he's got an injured shoulder now.
Everybody really beat up that the Jags didn't win last night, and they dropped to 0-4. I know.
Yeah,
My
they were
boy
a big
CJ
team.
Uzomah, 2 touchdowns though. It's the guy who hosted us in Nashville for Saturday college football.
Nice.
Do I know?
CJ Uzomah, the tight end that called 2 touchdowns last night, that's the guy that hosted me and my girlfriend and my cousin for the full college football Saturday in Nashville.
But he wasn't there, right?
No, he was there.
Oh, he was there? I thought you said he.
That was his last. It was that the NFL gave everybody like a week off between preseason and the start of regular season. So he was back in Nashville.
Tim, can we do 11 that Dave cut last night? Coming back?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Glad I can hear you guys now.
Overrated.
So I had to log out and get back in.
Yeah, Craig, that's what Miami is, man. It's always been the challenge down there. If you're not playing a marquee game, good luck having people in the stands.
Why can they not have a stadium on campus? What's the deal with that?
They can. Did you not? There was, who was it this weekend? Was it Herb Street or last weekend? Somebody went off on Miami.
Yeah, about the lack of administrative support.
Yeah, wasn't Herb Street?
Yeah, it was Herb Street on game day.
Yeah, it just went off, and Patrick, that was part of it. And
he's like, the alums care, former players care, but that's about it.
Well, what are they doing? What do they do wrong? I don't know anything really about the inner workings.
Well, Miami's a private school, and Coral Gables is part of Miami, but it's kind of removed from everything else.
Yeah, it's Patrick. You like power. At least every time I've gone to Key West, I've passed right through Coral Gables. Okay.
Fine, be that way, Patrick.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, no doubt.
It is a pretty campus, Tim. Have you been down there? Have you driven through there?
Right, I'm back.
I've never
start back over.
No,
Every time
Coconut
you drink
Grove,
the
I think
tea-
it's the closest I ever got.
What'd you say, Patrick? You what?
Start back over from every time I go to Key West, I drove right past.
Yeah, I drive right through the university, and it's not far. It's like 15 minutes, maybe 20 minutes from where you get on the bridge at most from where you get on the bridge to start going out to Key West. Like, it's down there at the very southern tip of Florida. I should say mainland before you go out start traveling to islands.
I've definitely never been that far down.
It's a pretty campus too. The baseball stadium's like right there, kind of on the main, whatever road. I say main road. I don't really know how to describe it. I've only done it 3 times, so it's not like I'm a professional.
Craig, was that my buddy Matt you're talking about, the Miami announcer? He was doing the game last night.
Yeah, he was. I'm guessing he was doing it from Bristol.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I was talking to somebody about that yesterday about the need to not be at places now.
We're about to head back in, so I'll just kick off number 11.
Thank you.
thing for us is just, our guys just need to go play and execute and not worry about results and just go execute and worry about doing your job and the rest will take care of itself. And then certainly from a Troy standpoint, we gotta tackle well on the perimeter for sure, and we got to protect our quarterback. I mean, we've talked enough about the running game, but when you're playing a team that is one of the best teams in the country at sacking the quarterback and sacked Southern Miss's quarterback 9 times, we certainly have got to do a great job of protecting our quarterbacks on Saturday night and then just staying ahead. I mean, we had 51 plays the other night, Todd, and 3rd or 4th down. I mean, we got to be a whole lot better on 1st and 2nd down. We can't live in 3rd down all night. That's hard.
Shane Beamer, Todd Ellis, last night, Carolina Calls from Learfield Sports right here on 107.5 The Game. Backstreet's Grill sounded like it was hopping on a Thursday night like you would expect here, right smack in the middle of football season. Bill, what do you make of some of the keys to the game that Shane Beamer just mentioned?
Tackling's important. I heard him say that last night. Thought, yeah, we got it. Tackling. It's not a bad idea. In terms of what he said there about just going out and playing, I don't know. You guys have watched. Is this a team right now that mentally is a little shot, that is a little afraid of making mistakes? I don't see that. Do y'all? I see a team right now that's trying to play, is just making a few mental mistakes and can't seem to kind of stop from tripping over itself. And I'll be interested to see if that's something that they can get past this coming weekend and just go out and put every piece together. I kind of am leaning toward them being able to do that. I know, again, Patrick's gotten upset with me this week during the program where I have been rewatching the show and talking about it off air on the live stream.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because off air is for non-sports talk.
Okay. So if I'd have just been, that's why you got mad. I thought you were mad I was rewatching. So if I'd have been doing it during the show, you wouldn't have minded at all.
No, wouldn't have minded a bit. But that's our time to talk about movies or whatever.
Or Coral Gables and driving through Coral Gables.
Exactly.
Okay, I'm sorry. We've been doing this for so long. I did not realize that was my mistake. There were positive things I saw going back and watching that Kentucky game. There were some positive runs. It just seems like when South Carolina takes a step forward, they then shoot themselves directly in the foot and take 2 steps back. It's can they go without making that big mistake on a drive? And again, last week, a lot of it was short yardage conversions. Couldn't do it. I think they're able to do it this week. I think they'll go out and play a better game.
You heard Shane Beamer talk about how Troy is really good at getting the quarterback. 18 sacks on the season, tied for the lead in the country, tied with 3 other teams. You guys want to play that game? Who is Troy tied with? Most sacks in the country.
Georgia, yeah. You got to say Georgia, right?
Incorrect. Georgia's at number 12 with 14 sacks on the season. I'm scrolling down to look up those Clemson numbers, but they are not nearly as high as you might think, or as I would have thought. I agree. They're number 60 in the country with 9. So Clemson has 1 more sack than Carolina does this year.
LSU's got a bunch.
LSU is correct, sir. Well done on that one. Second guess. Not bad. So LSU are tied with Troy. Those are 2 of the 4 teams in the country that have 18 sacks going into week number 5. And just do that math, right? 4 games, 18 sacks. You're averaging 4.5 sacks per game. I cheated and looked at the average there. I didn't do that math real quickly in my head, by the way. This is cfbstats.com is where I'm getting this from. 2 other teams out there that have 18 sacks already on the season. Any guesses? One, an ACC team, and the other one, a group of 5 team.
An ACC team?
Correct. Get one
Virginia
guess.
Tech?
I'm going Cincinnati for the group of 5 would be my guess.
Okay, both of those incorrect. I'll see if I can get you some numbers for those teams, but not correct. Virginia Tech is down at 17th, tied for 17th in the country with 13 sacks, so not bad at all. And Cincinnati was your guess, Patrick. I'm going to effort those numbers as well.
They might not even be in the running because they have played a tough schedule so far, and Marcus Freeman is gone. I'm just thinking of good group of 5 teams.
Gotcha. I'm continuing to scroll down here and not seeing Cincinnati anywhere towards the top. They're actually towards the bottom with only 4 sacks this season.
Oh, man.
116th, tied with NC State down there. at 116th out of the 130 D1 teams. By the way, last is an SEC team, tied with another Group of 5 team. You guys want to guess the last team there?
I would
SEC?
like to guess Vanderbilt.
Correct. You want to guess how many sacks they have this year?
3.
6.
1.
1 sack.
1 sack.
Man, who'd they sack? Tennessee Tech was who'd they play? Tennessee
Well, the
State?
question: did they get the sack, or did the quarterback trip over the Did the quarterback get tripped by the center,
They run out of bounds
or
out of-
trip over the
Goodness
running back?
gracious.
They're tied with UCF and Kansas, UMass, South Florida, all down there at the bottom. And a couple other names I would never have thought that would be down near the bottom of college football, especially with the coach's reputation of Gary Patterson as TCU, and then Southern Cal also down there. They just have 3 sacks on the season. But all right, back to the
This
top.
is weird.
Get back to the top. 1 ACC school and 1 Group of 5 school. Patrick, you didn't even give an ACC guess, did you?
No,
Group of
my
5 guess.
ACC guess. Yeah, my Group of 5 guess. I'll go with Pittsburgh.
Okay, not a terrible guess. They're actually in 5th place in the country with 16 sacks this year, but not just behind. There's no team out there with 17 sacks. There are only 4 teams with 18, and then a group of 3 teams with 16 right behind them, and Pittsburgh's in that group behind. Bill, would you like to give your Group of 5 guess? Your non-Power 5 guess?
Group of five. I feel like it's given that it's going to end up being kind of random.
Let me give you a hint. One of the South Carolina coaches, the assistant coaches, was at this school last year.
Not sure that helps. Monterey Hardesty was at Charlotte. Greg Atkins was at Marshall. Jimmy Lindsey was at Illinois, so that doesn't count.
Clayton White, Western Kentucky.
Clayton White. I'll go Clayton White. I'll go Western Kentucky.
That is incorrect, but you did name the school in that list. Patrick, you want to take a
It's
shot?
not going to be Charlotte. It can't be Charlotte. So I'll say Marshall, which would be crazy.
Nope, Marshall is correct. Well done there.
Wow.
Went down the list there.
Yeah, it could have been Charlotte. I didn't think it was Charlotte.
And did you took the ACC guess of Virginia Tech, and Patrick, you took it at Pitt. The answer is Syracuse, surprisingly enough.
Huh.
18
Is Syracuse good?
sacks. They beat.
I feel like I
Liberty.
never know if Syracuse is good or not.
I wasn't really sure Syracuse was playing football this year, to be honest. The only reason I knew was Garrett is it Schrader, I believe. The former, he was a one-time
Charlotte
South
kid?
Carolina. Yeah, South Carolina recruited him and took Helinski over him. Went to Mississippi State and I think got helicoptered in a game. And
Oh, that was bad.
now he's up at Syracuse. I saw that like last week. Apparently, Patrick, they're 3-1.
Nice.
Now
They
they
just-
beat
They
beat
did
Liberty.
beat Liberty.
by,
Yeah.
Beat
by
Liberty on a
3
field
last
goal.
week, but
Yeah.
lost to Rutgers in week 2, 17-7. Their
I
other-
did look at the Liberty win because Malik Willis was still awesome in that game. I think he had like 300. He had like 90% of their yards, and he had 3 touchdowns and no picks.
Syracuse at Florida State this week, so trying to send the Seminoles to 0-5 on the season, and will be interesting to see, to track these sack numbers. It's interesting to bring them up just to see what some teams have done. That's a ridiculous number, 18 sacks. I think we can go back to last year. I don't know if the Gamecocks had 18 sacks as a team or the last several years. I'll try to look that up here as we move along this morning, but
Can you explain something to me?
I'll try.
All right. So Vanderbilt has 1 sack.
Mhm.
It was not by one person. It was 2 people on their team have half a sack,
Right.
but one person has 1 sack yard and one person has 2 sack yards.
So there was a
Did
guy,
one person tackle him by the waist and one
Right.
person tackle him by the torso?
guy in front and a guy
It's-
behind.
That's got to be a misprint, right?
That is
Yeah, I would
definitely
think so.
weird. Newberry Chris still getting over the Clemson loss to NC State. Dabo's out here playing chess, losing to NC State. Just guaranteed coaching against Dave Doran for the next 10 years. Saw that tweet last night and thought it was funny. So Newberry Chris stealing stuff off the internet. At least he admitted it at that point. The Clemson loss last week continues to linger, and it's been an odd week for Gamecock football fans, I think, from that perspective, being in the same boat at 2-2 with Clemson fans in September, which just has not happened in forever. But keeping Luke Doty upright, keeping him protected, giving him some time, we've talked about it. Bill, I know you're kind of an offensive line and you pay attention to it pretty often with Gamecock football. I can't remember a series of games, or maybe it's a start to a coaching tenure where the offensive line has been as scrutinized as this group is. And then I feel like going into a game against a non-Power 5 team, how important this game will be, how you got to have some production from both the pass protection and the run game for the offensive line, for the offensive coordinator's reputation or the confidence in the offensive coordinator to kind of permeate throughout the entire fan base. Is that overblowing what we're seeing with Gamecock football going into the Saturday?
Yeah, we can't speak for the players and their confidence level in Marcus Satterfield or what they believe or how they're feeling. But I think from the fan base standpoint, it's extremely important just from a morale fan base standpoint. I ask you guys again, if South Carolina goes out this Saturday and has 400 yards of offense and wins 34-7, what do you think the reaction is like with the fan base next week going to Tennessee? Are people like, we're going to dominate Tennessee now? They're garbage and they're struggling, and like, does that give everybody confidence just because you go out and have 1 week against Troy and we've heard all the Troy defensive numbers that yes, this team is starting to click? Or do people take what I saw was Patrick's take the other day and go, no, it's one game and it's Troy?
Yeah, I want to see it against an SEC opponent. Or
that I was with you until you said dominate. Right? I don't think anybody thinks this team is going to go dominate hardly anyone outside of Eastern Illinois. When you saw East Carolina not lead, South Carolina didn't lead the entire game until the final second when they kicked the field goal. I don't think anybody's going to just automatically assume a switch has been flipped and this team's going to start dominating people. But there will be a lot more confidence if Carolina can score some points and move the football and put up some yards. Now, how much that is and how that looks, Bill, I think that's the important part, because Carolina scored points and put up some yards against Eastern Illinois, and yet still we got a text yesterday from someone who said he came out of that game more concerned than he went in just because of the lack of consistent push from the offensive line against a bad FCS opponent. I think there is going to be a lot of that. Gamecock fans want to see that push. If you're sitting up at Williams-Brice Stadium, it's very obvious, right? That's the one thing you can see probably better than anybody else. You can see which line gets consistent push. And if you're not seeing that from the Gamecocks on Saturday, you definitely can't have any confidence that it's going to happen in the SEC moving forward. If you do see it, I still don't think you're going to be completely confident that Carolina's going to be able to do that against Tennessee, but it will be a massively good sign, something that the offensive line has not done all season long.
Yeah, you're right, getting a push. But again, I'm not sure they can do that running straight up the gut. I think South Carolina's best runs have been to the perimeter, and I think that's what they've got to do. And you go back and you watch last week, there were times that those guys getting out on the sides, getting out to the perimeter, were getting a little bit of a push. It's not much. It's 2 yards, 3 yards max. But that's going to be the key to me tomorrow, is seeing the scheme of the run game. Like, are you focusing on the run? Are you focusing on the outside? And I know it's not a running play, but will we see more of that little pop pass or that little shovel pass where Juju McDowell goes in motion, and because it's a forward flip, it's a passing play. It counts as passing yardage. But that's a play, again, getting McDowell or getting somebody else, if you don't just do it to McDowell, but getting somebody else out on the perimeter and allowing them to try and turn the corner. Those are the
with a head start too. Like, that's what I find important.
But again, getting those kind of plays, I think, are what's important. You go back and you watch South Carolina against East Carolina and against Kentucky and even Eastern Illinois. They've not been able to run between the guards, so to speak. If you're following Douglas and Gwynn, and I guess it's Nichols right now is playing the other guard spot, South Carolina has not been able to go up the gut on those guys. You've got to go to the perimeter. You've got to be able to get to the outside. And I'll be interested to see if we see more play calls focused on that tomorrow to try and free up a guy. One name last night, just interesting. I'm interested to see, because I felt like Steve Spurrier would do this a lot. He'd say somebody had a great week, and then you'd never see him. Shane Beamer mentioning Marshawn Lloyd last night by name and how he's had the best week of practice since they've been here. Do you see more of him a little bit this week to try and get him going?
Interesting. A texter just said, why do they keep giving the ball to Kevin Harris when he clearly doesn't have it? Juju McDowell is the best Carolina running back right now. Why not play him more? Give him 20 to 25 touches. Danny also with a comment on Facebook live stream says, with the offense, does it not matter that it's a new staff in year one? I just want to see growth. I hear what you're saying there, Danny, but I think that's the one piece or one of the pieces where you don't feel like you have to give a coaching staff a bunch of time to get a push on the offensive line. And maybe that's just some recency bias, having seen the Gamecocks run the ball as well as they ran it last year in year one with Mike Bobo, and knowing they had an experienced group coming back. That's the other part of it right now.
And you guys wouldn't label South Carolina's offense last year as good, right? Like the overall offense.
Definitely not.
South Carolina didn't have a good offense. They just ran the football. If you don't have that, if Kevin Harris runs for 800 yards last year, which is still a pretty good year, are people reacting the way they are? Like the 1,000-yard connotation that goes with a runner, and the fact that South Carolina had not had one since Mike Davis in 13, 14, 13, I think. Like it made people believe, like, yeah, South Carolina could just line up and run it on anybody. They'll just run on anybody. But the truth was, South Carolina's offense last year as a whole was not a good offense.
No doubt about it. 803-404-6100. If you would like to join the program, it's the early game here on 107.5 The Game.
Dan Patrick. Weekdays, 9 until noon. On 107.5.
Hey, I need to tell you about Canty Foundation Specialist. CantyCanFixIt.com is the place to go on the internet if you have any cracks in your foundation. It's kind of what we're discussing here, year one with football and the whole thing. It's the foundation aspect of what this Saturday means. Well, it's much more important around your home in reality, right? Sports talk radio discussion, but you need to make sure that you're covered at home. And I've been there before, man. Had foundation issues in my last home. It's no fun at all. But I realized at the end of it, after I got it resolved, after I got the foundation specialists out there, that it wasn't as bad as I made it out to be in my head. Did see the signs of foundation issues. That's cracks in your exterior brick, in your walls or above windows and door frames. If your doors are sticky or you have uneven, bouncy floors, cracks over your garage door, all of those are signs to go to CantyCanFixIt.com and get the Canty Foundation specialists out there. They'll take care of it, then you can move forward. And it will be it'll be a huge load off your mind, obviously. And if you're like me, it'll probably be less drastic than you thought it was. Get the Foundation specialists out to your house. Go to CantyCanFixIt.com. One more message coming to you here, Bill. I'm guessing that's a yes then, based off that last message.
Bill.
I'm responding.
Patrick, I'm hearing some kind of noise over there near your laptop, maybe. What you got going on?
What's it sound like?
Rustling papers.
Yeah.
I've been told yes today because of the new month, Bill,
Okay.
calendar-wise.
That does make sense. I know that the recorded spot started.
So I will I'll step out of the way there when that one is scheduled.
Pretty cool picture Beamer just retweeted.
Oh yeah, is it morning sunrise? That's his usual routine.
No, it's
right
just
about-
just a retweet of a guy sending him a picture from when we played Troy in 2010, and
Oh,
Beamer's
wow.
standing there right next to Spurrier, Garcia all the way there on the left.
Yeah. No, I don't think that's Spurrier. I think that's G.A. Mangus with the visor there.
All the way on the right.
Oh, on the right.
Yeah, on the right.
You're right.
Yep.
Wearing the
Are you
black
showing
shirt.
it, or are we all
Yeah.
looking at it on Twitter?
We're all looking at it on Twitter.
Oh, here we
Beamer
go.
retweeted it.
Yeah, Spurrier on the right.
You're right. And then Beamer's kind of in the middle, right behind Lanning Spencer. Spencer Lanning.
Oh, yeah.
Most known for getting kicked in the face by Antonio Brown.
Sure.
Is that Jay
Can you
Graham?
name the other guys standing up? 75 and 20 between Spurrier.
That looks like Terrence Campbell, maybe.
Well, no way I can get 20 for you.
So, according to the roster, did you guess on 75?
Sherman? Tim, I'm going Bryce Sherman on 20.
Oh, I might be right.
So, I'm seeing just from the roster,
Uh-huh.
unless there were multiple number 20s. Let me see if there were multiple number 20s
I'm
first.
guessing it's a DB.
So, I'm
I don't know.
seeing Cedric
I'm not
Sneed.
being funny because I'm short, but he's so
Yeah.
short. Bryce Sherman was like
Right.
5'7".
One more time, Patrick. Cedric Sneed, did you say?
I'm seeing Cedric Sneed, yeah.
I think that's right.
And it does look like him, yes.
And then who you got at number 75?
Steven Singleton.
Oh, okay.
Interesting. Offensive lineman, right?
Yep.
More importantly, who's the rep?
And
Ha.
yes, I think those. I just looked up pictures of both those guys, and I think that is who they are. Who's sitting on the bench, number 8?
I
At
don't know. Lamar
81,
Scruggs?
I got.
Oh, you.
Oh, I see 8 over there. Yeah, and then 81, I think is Gurley, isn't it?
Yep.
I'm going to go 8 is Lamar Scruggs.
Correct.
Impressive. And is that Spurrier Jr. maybe talking to them, kneeling down?
That's my guess. Looks like him.
I don't think so. You talking about in the red shirt?
Yeah, it looks like maybe a GA, right?
Yeah, it looks like just a.
In the white shirt next to 5. That's Spurrier Jr., isn't it?
No, that's GA Mangus.
Is that Pat DeMarco standing there in the middle with the eye blow?
It does look like him.
I think that is Pat DeMarco. I think that's Jay Graham right there. I think
Yeah,
that's
that's
Pat
definitely
DeMarco.
Jay Graham.
Okay.
Okay,
How
we're
about
coming
the
in.
how about the lack of uniformity in the assistant coaches?
Yeah. It was just that was the great thing about Spurrier. Just wear what you want to wear. Doesn't matter. Hats, visors, black, white, garnet.
Is there any audio you want?
Just breaking down a picture that Shane Beamer retweeted from Gamecock fan. Pete McElvey sent it to Shane Beamer, and he just retweeted it, a picture from Senior Day 2010. And we were trying to break down the picture, doing our version of Where's Waldo on YouTube, Facebook Live, and Twitter this morning. Station Eagles at 107.5 The Game. Where, that reminds me, I need to get the poll question up and rolling about what you think is going to happen tomorrow.
Oh.
Gamecocks, I've seen the spreads down to 6.5, Bill. And you just mentioned about the comment from last night in Carolina Calls that Shane Beamer said Marshawn Lloyd's had a good week of practice. Anonymous texter says, where's Lloyd been? No touches or few? Disappointing. The offensive line was to be a strength this year, question mark. Play of the game shows a lot of missed assignments. Pretty much, I feel like that pretty much sums up the entire week. That one text, just like that, about missed assignments in the offensive line, especially.
Yeah.
The answer is we don't know.
I'm just going to real quick see if I can get this here before we get out of the top of the hour. But I'm looking to see when we ask, like, where's a Marshawn Lloyd or why has the ball not been thrown to this guy or that guy more? I was just trying to glance real quick. We know that this past week there was only 51 plays run from South Carolina's standpoint. That's awful. They've got to run more. If you want to get more people snaps, I was going to try and glance real quick and just see if I could see how many were exactly run against Georgia. Let's see. There was 29 passes
and 34 rushes. So that's 63. Is that right?
Yep.
Still
Nailed
not
it.
a lot. I know what, Tim, you said average the other day was 61, which is
61.7.
and that was very low, right? Like that was outside the top 100.
Tied for 122. Yes.
Yeah, stinky. East Carolina, 24 passes, 39 rushes. So
Oh, tough math.
63. Yeah, you got to get close to 70 plays. It's an interesting number for tomorrow. 70 plays.
Robin expressing some frustration on the Facebook live stream about doom and gloom fans. We're headed hour 2 here on the early. Real fan. Well done, Robin. Not everyone's a real fan. Yeah, I think you're exactly right, DC. No, I don't know if it's more. I don't think it's more mental than physical. I think it is a physical thing, man. Coming off that for a running back, especially. I don't remember what it's been a year and a month, 2 months, 14 months.
Yeah,
it's tough for a running back, man. Not be there, Craig. I got a flag football game in the afternoon. I got a coach after baseball practice and another flag football game.
Wow, that is
What
a
about you,
super dad right there.
You going on?
Bill?
Yeah, I'll be out there. I mean, what, Tim? We got pregame at 11ish. Is that right? 11ish. So yeah, Patrick, I'll probably tomorrow's Lauren's birthday, so we'll probably get out there early and do a little celebrating. But what do you think, Tim? 11 to 12:30 tomorrow? Does that seem right?
12:45.
12:45. Well,
actually, no. Sorry. So it's 10:30. So 11 to 12:15 is when you'll go.
Oh, I like that. That's good. So that'll put me back. That'll give me a chance for a 3-hour tailgate.
Watch out, people. Watch out.
3-hour tour. 3-hour. So yeah,
I'm gonna need I'm gonna need the 4 TVs again.
And you know what's the big deal about tomorrow? Not that everybody needs to know my personal, but it'll be really the first day I can enjoy actual food. So
wow.
Look out, tailgate. I'm coming for the chicken tenders and the dip and the pigs in a blanket and
He's
whatever
just gonna
we
be
got.
grazing. It's gonna be an Impractical Joker skit.
I may be out of commission on Monday, but it'll be the first day I'm allowed. No more peanut butter jelly sandwiches and potato soup.
I think one of my favorite tailgate foods that I only ever really see at tailgates is when they get the whole pack of like Hawaiian roll sliders and bake them into the square pan. You know what I'm talking about?
Are you talking about with the ham and
So
cheese and you put the little
and then cook them in the oven?
Yeah.
For my family, that's a big, like, we always have those as like appetizers on Thanksgiving morning. Somebody makes like a like you said, a tray on Wednesday night and then pop them in the oven. So like early, because we always do a late Thanksgiving dinner. So that's always like a little like appetizer throughout the day, kind of like a little snack. And then
baked into the pan like that.
Yeah.
But
and
like
I made those this past year. This was my first year making those.
Yeah, poppy seeds.
Yeah. Pour the butter over to the butter or whatever, and you glaze it with the Dijon honey or whatever.
So good. Favorite tailgate food right there.
They are delicious. Yep, that's a Thanksgiving morning like staple, or like 11 o'clock. You put them out 11 o'clock. Christmas, yeah. Ham delights, is that what you call them? I've never called them ham delight for you.
There's no chance that takes a long time to prepare, right?
No, you just take the Hawaiian. You take the big thing, the Hawaiian roll, and you don't break them up, and you slice it in half, and you put all your stuff down on there, and put it back on top. Pour I forget what ingredients, because like I said, this was the first year. This was the first year I had
recipe says
delight.
It's like minced onion.
This one says Dijon, Worcestershire, poppy seeds, and garlic powder and butter.
Garlic powder, yeah.
Yep, you pour it over, and
Throw in the
Elaine.
oven.
Right. Good job. Good call, Jan.
Poppy seeds? I thought you were supposed to eat poppy seeds before a drug test.
Nope. Why no real food? Come
No,
on.
Robin, I've been unable to eat some stuff.
Oh, that's what you're saying.
I was some minor issues. But with that being said, I'm now down to 156 pounds, and the lightest I got in the last 5 years was 152.
Through sickness. Good job.
Hey, I got to 152 through divorce. I get to 156 through.
So we just need catastrophic events, and you're going to hit every goal possible.
That's right. Yeah, I've lost 14 pounds. I weighed myself 156.8. I was like, oh. Now I feel the urge to keep going and see if I can get under 152.
What do you think the nutritional value of 9 sliders would be?
Oh, I bet the calories are. I bet it's.
Those
200, I'll
Hawaiian
go
rolls
250
alone.
calories. 250 calories per slider.
What would be
So-
worse, me eating 9 or 12 sliders over the course of one day, or 24 wings?
I would think the sliders.
24.
I would think the sliders.
Would
See,
be
I
worse.
take-
9 versus 24. Yeah, I guess so. With all the bread.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go. I'm
All the
gonna
wings
say.
will be breaded though. I'd get
Patrick,
better
do
wings.
you have the answer in front of you? 9 sliders.
No, but realistically,
Wings
I'm
are-
going to do one of those 2 things on Saturday.
If wings are breaded for sure. Wings.
Just
And
take
if
the
I'm being
breading
honest,
off.
I'll probably do the other one on Sunday. So
That's balance right there.
Wow. Strong weekend. Sir. Strong weekend. Sounds about right. Good estimate there, Craig.
1,500 calories for the sliders.
9 of them.
Oh, I was thinking they're at least 250 calories each. You think they're less?
Well, if you can look up what a little Hawaiian roll is.
let's see.
Say
That's the biggest.
we
They're heading back in.
I don't think the recipes really show.
Yeah, but they're smaller than a regular Chick-fil-A biscuit.
I mean, there have been many, many Saturdays where I just get like a large pizza and eat a slice every 15 to
So
30
it
minutes.
says
208.
Oh,
Sounds
there are
good.
90 calories in one serving of a King's Hawaiian original sweet roll.
There you go.
You need to walk 25 minutes to burn 90 calories.
Man, 25 minutes. What if I run?
Well, I guess you cut it in half.
22.
I'm not doing that anymore.
12 minutes, 12 and a half minutes of running.
You guys are up.
Coming off an hour where Bruce Benedict, Bruce Suter, Bob Horner popped up after the Braves win their 4th straight division championship last night. Welcome into hour number 2. Thanks for moseying on in with us. Hope your Friday morning's off to a good start. Carolina football. How many hours away now? Let's do this math again, Patrick. I know it's hard. 5 to 8.
30.
2.5 by my math. 32 and a half hours away from
Yes.
for Carolina in game number 5, which turns out to be, I feel like I've said this multiple times, but this year, maybe more specifically, because it's year 1 for Shane Beamer, and because you want to make sure the program doesn't step back, and you have energy, enthusiasm, optimism from Beamer off the field going into the season this year. You avoided kind of disaster in game number 2 and pulled out a win against East Carolina. Feel like you're in a similar situation as you're playing at home, though, Bill, against a non-Power 5 team in Troy that comes in with some dangerous components, tied for the lead in the country in sacks, and a defense that's 4th overall in total defense, knowing that your offense is already struggling. But I do think if you had to choose right now, you would prefer to play a team that has a a better defense than offense, I would think, because you've already had a struggling offense and you've still been able to win a couple of games. And the defense has been so good. I think Gamecock fans do have to feel good that you have a massive advantage on that side of the ball. And your SEC offense might be able to at least be somewhere towards equal against a pretty good Troy defense. That sound about right to you, Bill?
Well, and I wonder if people think that the offense has a chance to click. Like, are people even giving the offense a chance? It's hard to look. We've seen Josh Vann come on. Luke Doty's going to be making his second start this year. He'll be playing in his third game. Again, he played all but one series against Georgia. Do people have faith that maybe something can turn around, or are they just so upset with Marcus Satterfield at this point that they're just saying, no, this is what we are? And if that's the case, but if you feel like that there's a chance that at some point this offense can click, and again, it doesn't have to be. I think most people, myself included, are of the opinion, hey, it doesn't have to be, the 2000 St. Louis Rams. It doesn't have to be the greatest show on turf. It's just got to be competent. Just be able to run the ball for 150 yards a game, right? That's not even a great number. Just as a team, just get 150 yards rushing and throw in, another 200 passing or whatever, and get to 350 yards per game. What is South Carolina averaging right now, yards per game? Do y'all have that right in front of you? Are they over 300, or I'd put the over under at like 305 for what they are at as a team. Like I would think if you say, hey,
well, let's go with some other numbers there. Just your estimate right there. You want to know the number one team in the country is Ole Miss, yards per game. And you guys guess what they're averaging yards per game? Averaging
481.
481 right now would get you 20th in the country, 21st in the country.
Okay, maybe they're averaging. Is it passing yards? They're averaging 481. Do you have both?
They're probably like 650.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
481.
638. Yeah. That is almost 80 yards better than Ohio State, who's number 2, 559. That is just a ridiculous number.
What is South Carolina on the year?
Yeah, I'll check. I've got the numbers right in front of me here. Scrolling down to 115 in the country. South Carolina has 1,289 yards. So not even 2 games. That averaging, or right at 2 games, right? And they play 4. They're averaging 322 yards per game. If you're looking for the silver lining, that is still 28 yards better than what Clemson's done this year.
What's Clemson's number?
295.5.
So Ole Miss is more than double Clemson's,
yes.
And South Carolina is just
right
better than half as much as Ole Miss.
Unbelievable there. And the team that's last in the country, Bill, this is kind of my point. The team that's last in the country in total offense is Louisiana Monroe, who's coming off a win against Georgia.
Yeah, big. And
if you had to choose, the matchup on paper seems to be relatively favorable for the Gamecocks on where the strengths lie for Troy and where the strengths lie.
Was a big pick six in that game, 95-yard pick six there that changed the direction of that game. By the way, offensive football, look out. Vanderbilt even closer to the bottom. They're below Clemson. Vanderbilt averaging 284 yards a game. They host Connecticut this weekend, who's averaging 219 yards per game. So you've got 2 teams playing each other combined that aren't even close to what Mississippi's averaging by themselves. That's going to be. Do you guys see the ticket price on like the I guess the lowest ticket price on, like, I think it was StubHub or Ticketmaster for Vanderbilt, Connecticut this weekend?
Yeah,
I literally just looked this up and I'm pulling it up right now on Vivid Seats.
What I saw on social media yesterday was $6, but I think
$6.
I saw other people retweet down to $2. Right?
Yeah, you can get a $2 ticket right now, and that's literally just the processing fee. Like, you should actually get paid to go to that game.
You should.
That's the thing. They can't pay people to go to that thing. But the matchups on paper for Carolina the next couple of weeks are going to be fascinating. I mentioned the Troy strength is on defense. Obviously, Tennessee built much differently, and Josh Heupel's come in and done pretty well with that offense, I think. And that is his reputation. Tennessee all the way up at number 53 in the country with 423 yards per game or so. So it'll be kind of a tale of a couple of weeks here for the Gamecocks, going on the road to Tennessee doing it, and then also having Troy here at home, and the strengths of those teams flipped. We'll see which one plays into Carolina's favor. The line down to 6.5, as I'm seeing this morning against Troy, and the over-under one of, if not the lowest in the country at 43.5. What I'm seeing there. Bill, which game did you tell me was close to that one? I know you
Michigan, Wisconsin.
There you go. Michigan, Wisconsin. I'll look that one up just to
I think that one was 43.5, and South Carolina was 42.5 is what we looked at yesterday.
I got them both sitting here at 43.5 as I look at it right now.
A slight jump. All of a sudden, a lot of money in on that over for South Carolina. People are feeling an offensive explosion.
We'll get to our picks a little bit later on in the program. Going to talk a little high school football as well later on in the show. We'll get back into the Gamecock football discussion when we come back. So thoughts from last night's Carolina calls and Shane Beamer coming up next. It's the early game.
Sport court. Do we want to do South Carolina's offense is what it is, or can it change?
It's pretty good. I like it.
Are people gonna go to the Vanderbilt UConn game as a joke? You think? Ironically,
As a joke?
It truly is probably the most embarrassing matchup in the country on Saturday.
What time is I need to look. What time is the game?
If you knew that, I'm glad you did not.
Oh my gosh, it's 7:30.
Prime time, baby.
There will be 10 people there.
It's 6:30 p.m. in Nashville. If you're at that game, you need to reevaluate a lot of things. And you don't have a family member playing.
And it's on ESPNU.
It has to be.
Now, I could see maybe some ironic TV viewing, but if you're not getting paid for some reason, if you're not doing like a sports talk radio going, I don't understand why you would go ironically.
I mean, their girlfriends aren't going to that game. There's no shot.
Travis, what's going on in your life that you're asking this question? Is what I need to know.
It would be fun to just place like the bet of your life on Vanderbilt to cover 14 against UConn, and just have to watch force yourself to watch that whole thing.
Ugh.
That actually might be fun because all the good games are on early.
Well, you do have Auburn, LSU at 9.
I'm not going to be able to stay up for that one, but all the best games are between noon because we got Georgia, Arkansas, and Michigan, Wisconsin at noon. At 2:30, we got Notre Dame, Cincinnati. At 3:30, we got Alabama and Ole Miss and South Carolina. And then, the night slate's not that. Mississippi State, Texas A&M.
Yeah, Damon, we lost to UConn when they were at their peak.
Yeah, UConn was like Randy Edsall actually had UConn going pretty good.
Yeah, the first go around.
Yeah. Who was the quarterback?
Some guy.
What year was it?
It was the 2009 season. It was the 2010 Papa John's Bowl.
So it wasn't Orlovsky. Was Donald Brown the running back?
That sounds right.
So.
I don't know.
Actually,
None of us remember the teams. We just remember the cold, that they ran out of pizza at halftime, and that the sound system was bad, and that it amazed me. The most amazing thing from that game was Legion Field is where they played an SEC. They played multiple SEC championship games, and where big football games between Alabama and Auburn used to take place. I couldn't believe that stadium in that area hosted an SEC championship game, one, let alone I think 3, and that Alabama and Auburn used to go to that stadium and play. I mean, that place was in a rough area. When the dude across, I've told y'all the story about where we parked, and the guy came out of his house across the street and looked around and was like, "How much y'all pay to park?"
And we were like, oh, $20. He's like, oh, okay, well, you should park over here. It's 30. And we were like, what? Why would we pay 30? We paid 20. He's like, because it's safe parking over here. I was like, oh no.
Can I just pay you $10 extra for?
I got the feeling that the safe parking meant he was going to be visiting our cars.
Yeah, because
during the game.
my dad's always said that he would go to Preakness every year, and you would park, and people would come up with a shopping cart and say, "Hey, $20, and we'll walk your stuff into the venue for you." And it was like, if you don't pay that, your car tires are probably going to be slashed, and the stuff is going to be taken. So
I've heard some other stories about stuff like that at the old Oakland Raiders games, like out there, that you would park and that people would come by and be like, "You're gonna need some protection out here. It's gonna cost you $20."
Nothing like parking insurance.
Wow.
Jen would like to come back with number 7, please.
Okay.
Thank you.
Oh, Tim, did you ever finish watching the SEC thing?
No, haven't tried again.
Ted Lasso, it was a big show. Setting up for a dramatic finale.
I guess I need to catch up on them. Y'all just keep selling me on how emotional these episodes are, and I'm not in a spot right now I can handle emotional episodes.
There are a lot of storylines getting ready to pop in the finale next week.
You know how
Have you seen the standoff between Sudeikis and the rest of the crew?
No, what's that?
He says the show arc is 3 seasons, and of course all of them just got paid, and he's got other projects, and so he only wants 3 seasons, and they're all wanting to continue it because they're now getting paid.
About. We talked about it in our staff meeting on Sunday. You know, is there something we need to be doing differently in pregame warm-up? Is there something we need to be doing differently in the locker room? Is there something we need to be doing differently at the hotel before we come over? And we all feel like what we're doing is what we need to be doing. We've just got to play better at the beginning. And we've talked about it, that we need to start fast. We say it every week, and haven't done a great job of doing that. We certainly offensively, have a plan for the openers, how to take the first couple of series going. And we go over that every Friday night with the offense in the hotel and spend a lot of time planning that out. But it hasn't quite happened like we want it to happen. And we certainly to be better about it, because we don't need to be getting in holes because we're not getting off to better starts.
Shane Beamer, Todd Ellis, last night, Carolina Calls, courtesy of Learfield Sports, right here on 107.5 The Game at Backstreet's Grill. Bill, what do you make of that? I hear a coach that is searching for answers and at the same time being very intentional and careful not to just throw everything out of the window that he kind of believes in and came into the season with confidence in. And it's a tricky spot, I feel like, for Beamer and company from an offensive standpoint, especially. And that's kind of what he was talking about, getting off to a faster start offensively.
I mean, I like it. I like that they're not stuck in their ways. Don't you feel like that's what the previous staff did? Was like, hey, this is how it worked everywhere else. This is how it's going to work here. And if it doesn't work here, it's because it's y'all's fault, not ours. It's our way worked everywhere else. Shane Beamer's been at good places, Georgia, Oklahoma. He's been successful under Steve Spurrier and Frank Beamer. And it feels like he understands, that, hey, we may have to try. We may have to be a little out of the ordinary. We may have to try something new to jumpstart these guys. I like the fact that they're willing to look at all aspects of pregame. We're talking about pregame. We're I don't know how many times I've ever heard a coach. We definitely never heard Spurrier talking about, maybe we need to do something different in the locker room. Maybe we need to do something different on Friday night. Maybe that concerns people because I guess you could go the other way and be like, oh, they're really overanalyzing this. They're really, really overthinking this. Just go out and play football. But I do like the fact that they're not necessarily throwing everything out that they believed in they're doing. But they also understand, hey, this isn't working. We got to make some changes. we got to do something here to generate some energy and some plays early on in a football game.
Well, because it's that's why his experience is nice because he knows there's more than one way to win and be successful in college football. It's not like he's only coached under one style of coach. He's not only from the Saban tree and everyone tries to do it that way. And he's got there have been different leadership styles and different just football styles between Kirby and Spurrier and Lincoln and his dad. Like they all have totally different stylistically types of teams.
It's a really interesting look. And to hear Shane Beamer talk about it, to get to hear from the coordinators during the season, because you can certainly spin it whatever way you want to spin it, right? Patrick, like you did, Shane Beamer does have a bunch of experience and a bunch of different experiences in his 21-year career as an assistant coach. So you can try to, ideally, right, you take the best from every stop, like he's talked about in the preseason, and you combine those things. But just the fact that he's seen all of that stuff, not being necessarily in a concrete kind of mindset, right? Everything's set in stone, and this is exactly how we're going to do it in the whole thing. To be able to adjust is a really good thing. But the tricky part for Shane and a first-year coaching staff is if you waver too much, I think, from your plan, then you run the risk of showing lack of confidence maybe, or too much adjustment can be a bad thing as well, Bill. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have to be hard-headed in the run. How many times have you come in on a Monday morning in the last several years, like, I don't understand what's going on from an offensive play calling standpoint. The Gamecocks have to be more hard-headed in the run. They got to do it. And then when you see that here recently with Marcus Satterfield, you're like, I don't understand why they continue to run the football when it's not successful. It's kind of that damned if you do, damned if you don't kind of mentality, I feel like, with how rigid you are with your ideas at this point, 5 games going into the 5th game of the first year of a head coaching tenure there for Beamer. You guys get where I'm coming from there, Patrick?
Is that not what Saban, the opposite of what Saban did though? Like, would you consider him changing from the run the football and play good defense to all right, screw it, we'll just score 60 points a game too? Like, is that just evolution, or is that not being rigid, or is it? I mean, where would you put that?
But I think that's what makes Saban. It's really weird, Patrick. What you just brought up is that all these Saban disciples come in and is like, we're going to do it the Saban way. We're gonna do it the Saban way. Whereas Nick Saban's like, all right, college is evolving. I'm gonna leave my ego at the door, and I'm gonna bring Lane Kiffin in to run my offense because he's innovative and he understands how offense should be run these days. All right, Lane Kiffin's gone. Okay, I'm going to be innovative, and I'm going to bring Steve Sarkisian in because he's an offensive mind, and we're going to let him run it. Like, I think that's the thing about Saban is when college football evolves, Nick Saban evolves with it, whereas his Pruitt and Muschamp and all these other guys that have worked for him, they're like, no, we're doing it the Saban way, which is it only gets done this way, and they're not willing to evolve with college football. Nick Saban has gone from, like you said, a guy whose offense was, was 1980s to a guy who's like, yeah, we're going to spread it out, throw it around, use the wide receivers. We're going to score a lot of points.
I mean, LSU tried to do it too, but I think I looked it up. I looked it up last week because Bill, you said something that I disagree with about the Kentucky, where you said that's their blueprint or their bread and butter is running the football and playing defense, kind of, and that's just like what their program was. Because I looked up the LSU Alabama, that game of the century, and I think there were like combined 300 passing yards. And then when Alabama and LSU played, I guess in the last normal season, it was like 850 passing yards or something like that. Like those two teams both kind of evolved for that 1 year, but I guess Saban's just different because he's been able to continue evolving or continue just doing it at a high level.
Well, also, he's got the best players in the country too. Let's not give him.
So does LSU, though.
That's true.
I mean,
they do have a bunch of really talented guys, but to me, we can over-exaggerate that, right, from an X's and O's standpoint, and then it's guys that go out and make plays. But LSU is a great example of year after year after year, no matter what offensive coordinator they brought in, they couldn't figure it out until the magical year from 2 seasons ago with
Right.
Joe Burrow and company and Joe.
Because
Brady.
how different is Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson from Odell and Jarvis Landry?
Right. Very similar for sure, but much different outcomes. And that's why college football is such a fun conversation 365 days a year. And coaches, players, the combination of the two. How about Larry here? It's going creative on us on the Cool Care Heating and Air text line 803-404-6100. Larry says, I think Beamer should go back to his days with Coach Spurrier. Remember 2010? 6'4" Alshon Jeffrey, 6'5" Torrey Gurley, Marcus Lattimore. How Spurrier in the red zone would line up Alshon on one side, all the other receivers on the other, and throw jump balls to Alshon. Beamer needs to line up EJ or Trey and Kevin Harris, spread the field 53 yards wide, add Nick Muse and Jaheim Bell with Doty against Troy, test out the jump ball, also bring showtime to Carolina football. On the next 3rd and 3, line up 6'6" Jordan Birch in the backfield. Let him run behind the right side of the line. Insert Amarion Brown, use him like Georgia Tech did. Let him take the top off the defense, not run jet sweeps like Demir Bird did for Steve Spurrier, because the Joe Brady, Lincoln Riley formula only works with creative play calling like Coach Spurrier. I want Coach Beamer to win a national championship and support Carolina football for more than 20 years. As a Carolina grad, it's time for showtime. That's from Larry this morning. Bill, your thoughts?
That's a lot.
That was a lot there.
Yeah.
I'm confused. Look, you don't have what was Alshon, a 2nd-round pick? You don't have a 2nd-round pick at wide receiver right now. You don't have a guy who's a future 1st-round pick. Marcus Lattimore was a future 1st-round pick, obviously pre-injury. They're still working on this thing. I think step one, and it needs that. Hopefully, it happens tomorrow if you're a South Carolina fan. Is the offensive line really continue to gel? Look, I'll be poly positive until it's just way too late. But to my knowledge, correct me if I'm wrong, if y'all remember this last week, one of the positives I did take away from the game, South Carolina cut down on the penalties, 5 penalties last week, I believe. The good news, the best news, was we didn't see a really dumb taunting penalty. You didn't see a defensive back make a play and then stand over top of somebody. You didn't see a wide receiver, and there were 17 passes called. So you didn't see a wide receiver catch a pass on somebody and stand over top of them and taunt them a little bit and tell them how great they were. You saw that stopped. I thought that was good. Also,
There was a close call, wasn't there?
Close call with
Maybe not. I'll have to watch it again because I think I think somebody like spun the ball or something like that and didn't quite look at the DB, but I was thinking I was on the edge of my seat waiting for the flag.
You're that guy.
I can't remember which one it was. I can't remember.
I think at one of the Outback Bowls in Tampa, Bill, one guy behind me was that guy. Every time Carolina would pass, he's like, "Oh no, it's going to be an interception. Going to be an interception."
Yeah.
So now you're doing that with
No, but I think there was just one where I was like,
doing it with the
"Oh,
taunting.
you really you tested your luck there. You're lucky on that." I remember who it was.
5 penalties, 45 yards. I don't, off the top of my head, remember a holding call or a false start. Maybe certainly there could have been one, and I'm blanking on it. But I from that standpoint, I feel like you've got to at least say, okay, that's a step in the right direction. Like, it's nice to not see something like that happen. So now getting everybody on the same page offensively to where you are able to block everybody understands what they're doing. We'll see if that's something that they can do this week. And hopefully it is, as I continue to scroll through the play by play and just see if there's what the 5 penalties were. But that's something I think that is very important for South Carolina.
I agree with Larry that no matter how good he is, how good he's performing in practice, just throw the ball to EJ Jenkins and jump balls every play. Eventually he'll come down with one.
And that has elicited several responses this morning. Anonymous texter says, "Oh, it's just that easy, Larry." And another.
I mean, half of our texters think that it is. He's tall. He's going to win every jump ball. That's just how it works, right?
Wait, so you were going ironic too? I thought you were being sincere there. I can't tell. I can never tell with Patrick. Ross on the YouTube live stream goes, "Larry for OC." But I think he was for him. Maybe he was being ironic as well. 803-404-6100. If you would like to weigh in on the program, you can call or text. You could also check us out on that live video stream, YouTube, Facebook Live, and Twitter. Up and rolling on the station handle at 1075 The Game. We got the poll question going on Twitter now as well. What do you think will happen tomorrow 3 options for a Gamecock win just by different points. How close do you think it might be? 1 to 6 points, not covering the spread. 7 to 13 points, covering the spread and still winning a relatively close game, or 14 or more point victory for the Gamecocks in a blowout win? Or do you think Troy will pull the upset? Those are your 4 options. Again, at Tim Hill 1075 on Twitter, if you'd like to go and vote on this morning's poll question. We kick off the second half of the program. When we come back, it's the early game. It's 1075 The Game.
This is Gamecock basketball head coach Frank Martin, and you're listening to The Game, WNKT FM, Eastover, Columbia.
Weekend is upon us. It's close enough. It's close. It's 7:30 a.m. on a Friday. Look, it's close enough. May as well just accept that the weekend's here. That means watching college football, maybe a little Major League Baseball, whatever else you get into. It also means catching up on your sleep. That's right. It's been a long week, I bet. You've been having to get up early, go to work, take the kids to soccer or football or baseball or cheer or whatever it is you do during the week. Now's your time to shine. Get that extra sleep. Do it with a Sleep Number bed. I put my Sleep Number setting on 55. Wake up rested, refreshed, ready to go. That's how I'll be tomorrow. Get out there and tailgate, all because of a great night of sleep. And you can do the same, because proven quality sleep, it is indeed life-changing sleep. Don't miss the final days of the weekend special, where you can save 50% on the new Sleep Number 360 limited edition smart bed plus special financing. Subject credit approval, minimum monthly payments required. See sleepnumber.com for details. This deal ends Monday. Good news. You got today, tomorrow, Sunday, and Monday to get over to a Sleep Number store and check out just how great a Sleep Number bed is and why you want to make the switch. 2 stores to choose from, one in Irma on Harbison Boulevard across from Buffalo Wild Wings, the other in Columbia, 2 Notch Road across from Sand Hills Mall. You can visit them on the web, sleepnumber.com. The final days of the weekend special, where you can save 50% on the new Sleep Number 360 limited edition smart bed and their special financing. Make the switch to Sleep Number today and find out what a great night of sleep is truly like.
That was interesting in the in that Voice documentary. The Tennessee guy, I think, would always give the point to his his color analyst when he wanted him to drop in.
Oh, yeah. I had a hard time believing that's exactly how it worked the entire time, because that's a lot of pointing.
That would wear me out, man. Jay would sometimes give the you're open for you to comment in the studios back in the day.
You're allowed to comment now.
That's not exactly how he put it, but you're just saying I'm out of the way. Go ahead. I haven't gotten any response this morning for your question there, Jen, so we'll just move forward through this like a regular segment if you guys are good.
I'm good. Who we got? River Bluff and Lexington tonight? Is that the battle in Lexington? Is that what we're doing? Oh, I think I might be good enough in 8 o'clock hour to go sit at the table. See how I do.
We look forward to that change.
Yeah. Thank you. Thought you might. It doesn't look nice out there this morning.
Just cloudy.
At the Bluff. Nice. Good place to watch a high school football game. That's
Alan, I met the JV soccer coach the other day.
a fun matchup, too.
I hate to say I forgot his name.
Was he out scouting your 10U team?
He was doing like a training session for other kids, and we were walking by. He was doing some academy stuff. I think we're going to academy soccer in December.
Oh, really?
Well, academy, classic, travel, whatever you want to call it.
Big step. Big step.
Big step. Oh yeah, did we want to get into the performers for the Super Bowl halftime? That's a wild show.
Yes, it is.
That's a
Good call.
it's gonna be an experience. Am I the only one that's a little disappointed that Bones Mackay, is it Mackay, is going back? Tim, have you ever really listened to him on
Yeah, McKay.
By the way, it looks like I guess looking at my television this morning. Oh, okay. So YouTube TV and NBC Universal agree to short extension. Did you pay attention to all this last night, Tim, with YouTube TV and NBC, where they were going to cut the channels out at midnight?
Oh yeah. Those things are always they get so dramatic, and they all typically, and like 99% of the time, they work it out at the very end.
Yep.
Oh boy, night football, the one that we've circled from the moment the schedule was released.
Florio and Chris
Tampa Bay
Sims.
Buccaneers plus Tom Brady.
All right. Yep. Good job.
I don't like Florio at all, but I do like listening to that. Or I don't like Florio or Chris Sims, but I do like listening to that show because Florio is very sharp.
Heading back in. Hey guys, we're up.
Not quite naughty by nature, but a similar vibe, I guess, at the Super Bowl halftime show this year. Announced yesterday. I didn't realize Jay-Z is pretty much in charge of this thing. Right? His Rock Nation, I guess, signed a deal with Pepsi, and they're in charge. So yesterday, Jay-Z makes the announcement that it's going to be, I mean, like, this is, I feel like I'm back in the 90s in high school. Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, Mary J. Blige, Eminem, and Kendrick Lamar, all part of the halftime performance for this year's Super Bowl. Bill, you're all in on
All in.
from yesterday. I don't know. The older I get, I don't know. The maybe more this makes me feel like I'm getting older to see performers or actors. I mean, did you guys see that the other night up in Charlotte? Did you guys see what happened on social media?
I didn't see what I
media.
heard. The Rolling Stones, and I saw somebody say if Mick Jagger had done that in a bigger city, it wouldn't be a big deal. What did he do?
He was just out at a bar. There's a picture of him just standing on kind of like an outside bar, just drinking by himself. And I guess they followed up on the news. They went and talked to like the owner and stuff. Like, yeah, nobody recognized him. And there were people there, like right beside him, that had like floor seats at the Rolling Stones show. And he was just hanging out and just drinking.
How do you not notice Mick Jagger? He's one of the
Well,
most.
he had a hat on, and I guess he was probably keeping to. I don't know how much of this was like a publicity gag, right? I mean, you could probably have snuck up to somewhere, taken a picture real quick, and then got the heck out of there.
I'm thinking no makeup might have helped a little bit because I suppose that there's probably a little of that slapped on.
He looks like the Crypt Keeper, doesn't he?
Yeah, Keith Richards does more. So
Easy.
than Jagger.
That is
Richards was
25-year-old
the one
Patrick
who
Correct.
Right.
Isn't it?
I was gonna say Keith Richards is the one that was in Pirates of the Caribbean, at some point,
Correct.
right?
Correct.
My point I was getting into is like the more iconic
yeah,
acts
okay.
that keep
All right,
doing
well,
it
hold on,
later
hold
on
on.
in their years. It just makes me feel
thanks.
seeing them sometimes, remembering them in my head as younger and a lot more
Yeah, I mean, I just saw Counting Crows last weekend, and it was 20 years too late. So.
Oh, really? So yeah, you never told us about how that show went. That's the reason.
What? What's the reason?
The Counting
Oh no,
Crows.
it was good. I enjoyed it. He still has a good voice. It's just he can't hit the high notes that he used to, and he wasn't running around stage. He was just standing still the whole time, and he doesn't have the dreads anymore. And it was just, I mean, it's the same. It's going to be the same thing. Like Snoop Dogg's still funny. He's still like a relatively young guy. Like he's still doing it. He's not like an old man or anything, but they're not going to be. It's 20 years too late.
Snoop Dogg's in a different. Snoop Dogg of today is not the Snoop Dogg that Tim and I were quietly listening to their tapes. I mean, I think I had a tape, not even a CD.
Come on, I had the CD. Easy there.
You had the cassette tape first before you had the CD.
Yeah.
You went to the
was
mall.
One of the first few CDs.
You went to the mall, and whatever the record store was, you bought the tape. And you probably bought it. You probably bought it without your parents' knowledge of it, like I had to do. Like you had to sneak in, and you were worried because you were 12 years old, and you were worried that the cashier, who was like 7 years older than me, was going to stop you from buying it because of the parental guidance thing on there. And you
I had 4 years on you though back then, so I was very at the 16-year-old age mark and not the 12-year-old, so a little bit different.
Yeah, only played it in your room with the door shut when your parents, you knew that they weren't around to hear it, just for the words.
The high school girlfriend's parents might have made her take it back to the record store. Maybe that was the case. And now here we sit in 2021, 28 years later, whatever it is.
And Snoop Dogg is the face of television. He is
right.
He is like.
But it's just not the same when I see like gray in his hair, and it just has a different vibe. That's all I'm saying. When we come back, does the Gamecock offense have a chance to be a good offense in 2021? And how much will Saturday's game tell us about that? That's this week's edition of Sport Court, brought to you by Lawyer Lisa. She joins us next. It's the early game. It's 107.5 The Game.
College football playoffs are here. Sometime. Crew is up against it. The breaks are beating the boys. Tell them to get out there and give it all they got. Win just one. College football playoffs are.
Gonna do some tailgating tomorrow for some college football. Gonna do it with the Tahoe. Plenty of space in the back. I can load up all the food. I can load up the tables, the tents, the chairs, and the kids, because they're important for a tailgate. They like the tailgate. I got to get them in the back. That's the great thing about a Tahoe. That's why when I needed a brand new vehicle, I went to Love Chevrolet, I-26 in Harbison between Lowe's and Frankie's Fun Park. I trust Love Chevrolet. When you go to purchase a new vehicle, trust is extremely important, because let's be honest, a lot of people, you're working hard, you got other things in life. When you go to buy a vehicle, you want to trust the salesperson who is telling you how that vehicle will help your everyday commute, not just how it'll help you tailgate on fall Saturdays, but how it will help you, the gas mileage, the new different technology that's in a vehicle. And at Love Chevrolet, the sales staff is second to none. I believe in them. I trust them. They're honest. They take the time to talk with you. That's what separates Love Chevrolet, in my opinion, from everybody else. The incredible customer service you get from the moment you come on the lot looking for that new or certified pre-owned vehicle to the moment you leave content with your purchase. Go visit Love Chevrolet, I-26 in Harbison between Lowe's and Frankie's Fun Park. There are other great things. The $1,000 low price guarantee, meaning you'll save money. The incredible selection of vehicles out there, 14 acres of brand new Chevys. And you heard me mention the great certified pre-owned lot. But that customer service, whether it's Josh or whether it's Jeremy or whether it's Michael Corley, whomever it may be, you can believe in them. You can trust them. You know they're going to help you make a decision that fits your family's needs. I-26 in Harbison between Lowe's and Frankie's Fun Park, or on the web, lovechevy.com. Get out to Love Chevrolet and find new roads.
All right.
What shot are you guys taking?
Yeah. How you want to do it, Bill?
I'll say that the offense still has a chance to be good or solid or good.
Okay, Patrick, would you like to be a witness? Would you like to be a counselor today?
I don't care. I'll be the witness.
All right, I'll be the bad guy.
Good.
She is.
I
How about that?
we got it. Looks like we have a
Multitasking
secondary
this
judge
morning.
with us this morning.
Nice work, Lisa. Let's see if we can get her. No, we got you on mute still, Lisa. Sorry. Oh, look at that guy.
Wow.
Oh.
I feel like I have a better chance of winning already.
You have somebody as an equal.
Now I think we can hear you, Lisa.
Yeah, we have a very quick morning this morning.
All right, we'll go a little quicker than usual here. I understand.
No problem.
All right, so tone down the lengthy arguments, huh? Got it.
Man, your little dude is so much more chill than mine.
It's because she doesn't sleep all night.
Oh. Gotcha. You're still at that stage with her. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, she's 3 months, and Jensen's here too. Come say hi, Jensen. So I may be muting a bit in between. I should have to leave with the other kids.
We'll definitely get their opinions. Jensen, what's up, dude?
Back up a little so they can see you.
Hi. Good job, Jensen. So we have Jensen and what's your girl's name?
Juliana.
Juliana. Jensen, Juliana, and Lisa all presiding today. Got it.
That's right.
We'll write that one in right now. That's fantastic.
Oh.
Jensen. Jensen, do you spell your name Jensen or S-O-N?
Yeah.
It's the only way to spell it.
Yeah. And Juliana is with one N.
Ooh, I got that. Thanks for the heads up.
They're fancy.
All right, we're headed back in.
Yeah.
Right.
That's you.
So now, if you'll mute here, we'll be good to go, Lisa. Thank you. Talking about Rolling Stones in that last segment and the Super Bowl act for 2022, I guess it is now.
Mentioned the season top tickets available for you. The halftime show, you got a chance to win anyway, coming up later on this afternoon from 1 until 4. All right, it is Friday morning. It is time to get to it. It is time for Sport Court. Sport Court, sponsored by Lawyer Lisa, presiding this morning with some special guests, some special helpers, Jensen and Juliana. You can check them out on the live video stream if you're not checking out YouTube, Facebook Live, and Twitter right now. Lisa, how are you this morning, other than busy?
Cinnamon rolls being thrown around.
Oh, cinnamon rolls being thrown around. That's a big
Okay,
morning.
all
I
right.
know how that goes for sure. All right. The topic this morning is Gamecock offense. Do they still have a chance to be good going into hour number 5 or game number 5 here, I should say? Before we do that, wanted to let you lay out the ground rules here. Do we have any terms that will be getting extra credit in today's argument based off of what you guys do over at Lawyer Lisa?
Yeah. We do have some terms, but it is definitely important to use them the right way in order to get full credit for it. So today, when we're talking about this, your term is going to be trust, because at Lawyer Lisa, that's what we do. We do a lot of trust. And we do different kinds of trust, and one of them is called a revocable trust. That's something that you can make changes to later. So your bonus word is going to be revocable or revoke.
Oh, I love it this morning as Juliana starts to weigh in as well. Well done, ma'am. So we've got trust and revocable trust or revoke. Bill, we'll let you go first. Gamecock offense in 2021. Where do you stand, sir? Where's your argument?
I like where it's heading. I know it's not been the best start to the first 4 games. We've covered it, 321 yards per game so far, but the players have to trust in the scheme. They've got to believe in what Marcus Satterfield is telling them to do, and they've got to go out and execute. I have seen, here's the important part. Here's why I do believe that the offense can be better. I have seen this offense at times click. Now, we've seen it unfortunately not work more often than not, but there have been series in which we have seen this offense come together, trust in one another, and get down the field. It happened on Saturday night to start the third quarter where South Carolina was able to go 75 yards and put up the only touchdown of the ball game. They were able to move down both with Luke Doty's passing and by utilizing the running game. It should also be noted that South Carolina moved the football throughout the game, but had problems in short yardage situations.
Your Honor, I thought this was an opening statement, not the entire case. Can we move on here?
Sorry, I stink at the whole lawyer thing. This is why I'm a sports talk radio show host.
That was a
Sorry, go ahead.
revocable opening statement.
Well done. What do you think?
Yeah, that was like the whole argument.
Thank you.
All right,
Yeah,
we'll-
sorry.
we'll move
I know
on.
we're limited on time. So I was trying to fit everything in. I was trying to please the judge.
I'm on the other side of this thing. Obviously, I think the trust between the Gamecock offense and the fan base has to be earned. The simple numbers point out the exact opposite of what my a colleague over there was trying to argue. I think his law license has been revoked, by the way, many, many times. I don't know why he's still in the courtroom, to be honest with you. The numbers are 115. South Carolina is in total offense. Troy is number 4 in total defense. Clearly, ladies and gentlemen, this is not working out in the Gamecocks' favor. Let's move on to our first witness. Bill, go ahead.
Patrick, I ask you, though, Tim is pointing out the current stats. The argument is not what is the current situation. It is, can South Carolina get better? I'm arguing they can. I believe you have seen 2 or 3 drives that lead you to believe that this offense can compete. You have seen that from Luke Doty. Do you agree that his passing seems to be getting better with every game?
I agree that Luke Doty has gotten better every game, yes.
Do you also agree that the run game, when going to the perimeter, has been able to produce some results? Not great results yet, but some
Objection,
results.
Your Honor. Leading the witness. Clearly leading the witness.
Man.
This is revocable.
At times, it has worked going to the outside.
At times, am I the defense of the prosecution? I rest. Whatever I am, I rest. He has agreed. He has agreed that Doty has improved, and he has agreed that at times the run game has worked going to the perimeter. And again, it is. I think that's my closing argument. So go ahead,
Thank
other
you.
person.
Thank
You're
you.
allowed
How about
to
some
grill the witness.
Courtroom decorum here, please. This is just.
All right, Tim, let's hear from you.
Thank
What do you think?
Quick cross-examination here. That's a tough phrase for me to say. Patrick, as a witness here, was never even sworn in. Again, what is going on in this courtroom? Quick question for you, sir. My question is not, can the Carolina offense get better? We all know that it can happen in a fantasy land world of hypotheticals. My question to you, Patrick, is will it happen? And will we see that this Saturday against a defense that comes in 4th in total defense in the country?
Objection, speculative.
Whoa. You can't object. You're the witness. I'm asking. Every question is
Bill, say
speculative.
objection, speculative.
Oh, objection. Speculative leading the witness stuff.
Lawyer Lisa, please help us out with the courtroom procedure here. Can you say speculative when you're asked a question? Isn't that what an attorney's supposed to do?
Patrick, answer the question.
Oh, well done.
What was the question? It was speculative. That's all I know. It's supposed to be yes or no questions. Do I think they'll get better? I think they can't get much worse. I think everyone,
sir.
I think everyone
Can you answer the question, yes or no? Will
Yes.
Gamecock football and the offensive side look better this Saturday?
This Saturday, yes. Yes, Troy is overrated.
I didn't see that coming.
This defense has played no one. This top 10 ranked defense has played no one.
All right. Closing argument, Bill, please, in less than 400 minutes.
The argument, the case that was brought upon us today is, can the offense get better? Not what is the offense today, but can it get better? Your Honor, the witness has agreed with me in this. The offense has the opportunity to get better. There's been enough there that has shown us they can make a few plays here and there. I rest my case. This offense does have the opportunity to impress the fans and get better as the season moves forward.
Your Honor, I disagree entirely with that closing argument. I don't think the issue at hand here today in Lawyer Lisa's Sport Court was, can the Carolina offense get better? It's, will it get better? And unfortunately, I think my colleague over there can't handle the truth. I've lived all my life. I want to be able to say that in the courtroom. Sorry.
Jeez,
But
Patrick, you
just
can't handle the truth.
Simple numbers do not bear out that the Gamecock offense will get better this Saturday. Lawyer Lisa, please give us a final ruling here, or if you'd like Jensen to do that instead, that's totally fine with us, I think.
I don't think we want Jensen giving the ruling. We'll, again, be eating cinnamon rolls on Saturday, if that's the case. Well, first of all, there was not very good use of the terms this week. I'm a little disappointed in your argument.
Should revoke it.
I I do trust that you'll do better next time. This is not a revocable assignment. But I had Bill in contempt last week, and he is no longer in contempt.
Oh, thank you.
And he actually is winning this week.
Oh.
So congratulations,
Wow.
Bill. Your argument is the winner this week. And I do agree with you that the Gamecock, he's celebrating. You just can't see him.
He's waving to the crowd in the court. Do you think there are crowds in the
Isn't
courtroom?
that how it works in the courtroom? Don't you turn around and wave at the crowd? Don't you
Kill a mockingbird? You got the balcony up full?
You'll go back into contempt for that. The Gamecocks, they are going to do a lot better this Saturday. So we're looking forward to seeing it.
Lawyer Lisa and Sport Court, thank you, ma'am. And Jensen and Juliana this morning, another fantastic
Cinnamon
edition.
rolls for everybody.
Bill finally emerges
Cinnamon rolls
victorious
around
from the ashes. Maybe it can be inspiration for the Gamecock offense rolling into tomorrow. LawyerLisa.com is the place to go to find out all the information about Lawyer Lisa and everything that they can do for you. Not just revocable trust, but that was the fun part of this morning. Thank you for putting up with that. Hour number 3 coming up here is the early game on 107.5.
Head women's basketball coach Dawn Staley, and you're listening to the home of.
Thanks, guys.
Nice work there, Juliana.
Excellent. Good luck.
Good luck with the cinnamon rolls, Lisa.
Busy morning.
We made it. No screaming.
That's right.
Thanks for fitting us in.
We don't make it usually.
We're going to use that as a no screaming from kids. That's a show that the sign is doing very well.
Yep.
All right. You guys have a good day.
See you, Lisa.
All right. Bye.
Patrick, much improved on the witness stand. Well done.
Yes.
I like that you were not a hostile witness this morning. Made for much better sport court.
All right. Let's get some more coffee. Whee! Thank you. Yep. We're just adding to the titles.
Okay, I think Alan is in contempt of the video stream for calling Bill a NASCAR guru.
Your live stream privileges now revoked, sir, along with your diplomatic immunity. Patrick, if you got that reference, I'm really impressed.
Which reference?
Diplomatic immunity is revoked.
That from something?
Yes, it is.
What's it from?
A series of movies. Let's see who the first one going to get that on the old live stream chat. Guess we're going to see a bunch of those, unless I totally just botched it. I believe, I know. If I told you the actor who delivered the line, you would get it very quickly. Yeah, RL's got it. Way not to give it away, RL too.
LW? Was it Lethal Weapon?
Oh, Danny Glover. I think that's the end of Lethal Weapon 1. Might have been 2. I think it was the first.
I have seen some of Lethal Weapon. I know.
That's your movie guru list. Getting too old for this stuff.
Well, I think my version of that was what's the movie called?
Chris Tucker and Jackie Chan.
Chris Tucker. Yeah.
What was that series?
Rush Hour.
No,
Rush Hour.
Yeah, I can see that. The old buddy cop.
I kept wanting to say Chris Rock, but Chris Tucker really hasn't done anything else, has he?
He hadn't had to, I don't think. Friday.
I think it's Friday, yeah.
Yeah, I think it went Beverly Hills Cop in my lifetime. That's kind of the first buddy cop movie that I remember.
Beverly Hills Cop, man, I haven't
Shower.
heard that reference in forever.
Yeah, Beverly Hills Cop. How about that? Wait,
Favorite is 21 Jump Street, though.
did you call out your own untrue statement, RL? Is that what you're saying? Or are you saying that I think RL is just going. He's just going off with movie quotes right now, it looks like.
Yeah, you have to tell us what statement's not true. Sometimes we move too quickly from subject to subject, then we get completely confused.
I think that is correct. I think he keeps it in the water. I'm not positive. Craig is big on lake details on this show, I've noticed.
Do what?
Craig asked if you keep your boat in the water or you put it in storage.
It's in the water right now. It'll come out probably the end of this month.
Have you ever seen The Nice Guys?
And yeah, it's a great one.
With Gosling and Russell Crowe. I love that movie.
Oh no, I don't know if I've seen that one or not. I thought you were talking about Farrell and
Wahlberg, the other guys.
The other guys.
Is that the other guys?
Yeah.
That's what it is.
They're both.
Oh, yeah.
awesome. The Nice Guys is probably one of the most underrated movies. Never gets talked about, but it was great.
Good call in 48 Hours, David. And Nick Nolte.
Yeah.
I still haven't seen Bad Boys 3.
I don't feel like you're missing much.
Jen said it was good.
I said 48 hours is good.
No, didn't you see Bad Boys 3?
I don't think so.
What? I thought we had a whole conversation about Bad Boys on the show.
I didn't think I'd seen that one. One, yeah.
It came out this year, or last year, or this year. I don't even remember which one.
Oh, not good reviews there for Bad Boys 3 here. Totally skippable. Not missing much.
Okay. Good to know. Well, I clearly wasn't too pressed on it.
I mean, any movie with a 3 on the end of it, has it any of them ever been good?
No, but if they release 23 Jump Street, I'll go see it in theaters. I love those movies.
Yeah, maybe that's the latest buddy cop one, right?
That's actually a great question. What is the third movie that has a 3 on it that was good?
Well, it kind of depends, because if you're saying third, it was clearly a money grab, that's usually the problem. But Lord of the Rings, the best one was the third one, but that whole thing was pre-planned and they were all made at once, so it wasn't just hey, let's just make another one for a few bucks.
Oh, Hope is all excited. Hope, what's the Fear Fest?
I can't remember which Rush Hour was which. I'll have to go back and watch all those again at some point.
Rush Hour 1 was in LA.
Rocky 4
What?
was my favorite.
Yeah, nobody's ever said Rocky 3. I think that's the one with Mr. T.
Yeah.
Right? Troy, come on. I think you're trying to be that guy, Troy.
Rocky 4 is the best Rocky. I think a lot of people would agree with that.
Or go with the original. Come on, man. Wow, I guess Glenn's going in there too. All right.
I mean, all 4 of the first ones are good. Because number 3 gives you Thunder Lips too.
Oh, the original. The original Halloween is a channel stopper. I will stop the TV for the original Halloween.
Absolutely not.
What?
So, Bill, you cool if we both do 8-10 here? I'll start it and kind of pass it off to you. Is that cool?
Yeah. What do you mean?
Oh, the live. Okay.
The live.
And I'm gonna.
Fine by me.
Chris, I'll get Chris Deering on the phone here.
Got it.
No, good about that.
Hey, do you just? I mean, it's up to you. You can do it for all I care. I don't.
No. I'll just start it and pass it off to you. Cool.
Okay.
You guys ready?
Apologies for the request from JS on the Cool Care Heating and Air text line, the Perfect Strangers theme song. He says his weekend's already started and he's standing tall on the wings of his dreams. But I think you can still feel good about rolling into the weekend, even if you don't have the Perfect Strangers harmonica kicking here as we start hour number 3. The poll question results are interesting. So asking you as we typically do on a Friday morning during football season, what's going to happen tomorrow? What do you think? Got 4 options on the Twitter poll questions. Gamecocks beat Troy by 1 to 6 points in 3rd place right now. Gamecocks win by 7-13, cover, but don't get a blowout win. That is winning pretty comfortably in the early voting right now at 45% of the vote. Carolina wins by 14 or more in 2nd place with almost 30% of the vote. And Troy pulls the upset, 7% of the vote this morning in 4th place as we start hour number 3. Bill, what do you make of the poll question results as we sit here? Let's see if we can do the math. I think 31 hours away. I didn't actually do that math. So we got 4 to 12 and then 3.5. That's 7.5. Yeah, 31.5 hours away from game time.
I think that roughly 45% are being pretty realistic about what they see. I think that 30%, again, I'm rounding up, so the numbers aren't going to equal 100. 30% are being wildly optimistic. I think 7% are Clemson fans that have weighed in this morning, or just people who have just had enough. And then the Gamecocks win by 1 to 6 points. 18% are the people who are like, I believe we're going to win, but I'm not going to believe it until I actually see it. So we'll take the smallest margin of victory possible on the poll. That's how I feel that the poll has gone right now. I have voted 7 to 13 points in there.
Again, the scouting. Go ahead, Bill.
I was going to say, I think South Carolina, I know we'll do picks later, but I think South Carolina covers the spread.
Craig says, I agree with Patrick. Troy ain't nobody. Defense gets a couple more turnovers for Carolina, and the Gamecocks win 27-10 is how he sees it. I think it's fascinating on paper to look at this thing where the Gamecocks offense struggles, the Troy defense is really good, and then kind of the flip side on the other side of the ball, the Gamecock defense has been good, and the Troy offense has struggled, and they've turned the ball over. Not a good recipe, especially to go on the road as a Group of 5 team and then try to knock off an SEC team. This is one of those things, I get it, where you can look at it and say trap game on paper, but knowing what the Carolina program is and how difficult I think it is for the offense to feel really good about going into this game. I think there's a bit of a chip on the shoulder for Carolina in this one, and Troy's not going to sneak up at all. And that's a different environment than you typically see in these SEC games against Group of 5 opponents. So we'll continue to break that down as we roll through this morning. We'll do our picks as 5 games around college football. We're right now checking in on high school football on a Friday morning, like we usually do, with Chris Deering, who writes high school football, covers high school football now with Prep Red Zone at cdeering82, where you can follow him on Twitter. We're right out to the Love Chevy phone lines. Chris, how are you this morning, sir? And what do you think
going to be the best matchups here in the Midlands?
I'm doing pretty good this day, Tim, and I think, some teams right now have got a second life because region play are starting tonight for just about everybody. So I think that gives a little pep in your step. This is what determines playoff seedings, and I think a lot of teams know that. And I think we do got a couple of good matchups to start things off. I start over in Lexington County with Lexington and River Bluff, 2 teams that obviously don't really like each other that much, and they go take the first step and who's could be the best challenger to Dutch Fork. You still got Chapin out there, so I think Chapin, River Bluff, and Lexington are vying for second place in that region, and Chapin actually has a out of non-region game tonight. So, they're on a bye tonight, so they don't play, and River Bluff and Lexington will take a step to be the best challenger to Dutch Fork tonight. Dutch Fork will go over to White Knoll not really an intriguing matchup on paper, but you have the aspect of Tom Knox's former assistant. He was there for 5 years with them through all 5 of their state championships, and I think that will be an interesting matchup just to see what happens. Nick Pelham is the coach at White Knoll now, so he was a big part of those championships under Knox. So it'll be interesting to see if Knox puts his foot on the gas and scores as many points as he can, or he takes it easy on his former coach. And then I think we don't talk about Hammond a lot because they sort of like Dutch Fork. They just do their thing. They've been beating a lot of teams pretty handily so far this year, but I think they have a pretty good challenge. And this is probably a preview of the state championship game. They play Trinity Collegiate tonight, and there should be some pretty good football players in that game. So a pretty good night of football to get things started off in Reach and play. COVID is sort of slowing down a little bit. I think here in the Midlands, we only had 2 games canceled or postponed this week. So that's a good sign of things. So let's hope we can get the rest of these region games in and get a full playoff season in.
Absolutely. At C Deering 82, where you can follow Chris on Twitter and his work at Prep Red Zone. Chris, as we let you get out there, wanted to get your prediction for the Troy game. Where do you weigh in on the poll question today? 1-6, the Gamecocks win it by points. I'm talking about 7-13, 14 or more, or Troy pulls the upset.
I didn't do very good last week on this, so I give it a go this week. I did vote already. I say South Carolina 7-13. I think, I've seen a lot of things on social media that people are jumping off the bandwagon of South Carolina and Satterfield's play calling. I think it's a little bit too early to do all that. Let things play out, see where we sit at the end of the season. But I think this team's got the chance to get things right. And I know Troy's got a pretty good defense, but I think South Carolina finds a way to win this one and win it pretty easily.
That sounds like a 7-13, where most people are this morning in their predictions. Chris Deering, appreciate your time as always. At C Deering, again, 82, Prep Red Zone, where you can follow Chris. And high school football, as always, going to be going full board tonight in the Midlands. Chris, thanks for your time, man. Have a good weekend.
Thank you. You guys have a great weekend, too.
And what Chris was touching on there at the end, Bill, I was going back and looking for Robin's comment from earlier and popping it up on the live stream now. So frustrated, she said. Been a Gamecock fan for 35 years. Hate how all these people are always doom and gloom. Give a team and staff a chance to get better. Not real fans if they're hating after only a few games. Always the same. Perfection is not immediate. Be a real fan. Give them time. So with that comment, I think that's where we can get into what we're expecting at Williams-Brice tomorrow, Bill. A tremendous environment, much different situation, though, last week with Kentucky and the night game. Now you get an afternoon game after a deflating loss, I think is a fair way to put last week's game, against a non-Power 5 opponent in Troy. What kind of environment are you expecting? And to Robin's point, I guess, how many real fans do you think will be out at Williams-Brice tomorrow?
I think it'll be a lot of, when you say real fans, I think it'll be a lot of, now what I do really think is that if the offense comes out and struggles, you're going to hear some boos early on. They'll be directed toward Marcus Satterfield probably. So maybe everybody will turn around and boo the press box up there where he's at. I don't know. But I think you're going to get a good atmosphere. It's certainly not going to be Kentucky, and it probably won't even be the nighttime atmosphere and opening game atmosphere of Eastern Illinois. But it's supposed to be a really nice day. You get kind of the midday game, which if you're traveling up from Charleston or down from Greenville, kind of gives you a chance to not get home at 2 or 3 in the morning. You can come in and catch the game and be able to enjoy the weather and tailgate a little bit. I think people will turn out for the game. 65,000 maybe, 60,000. I don't know how many Troy will bring, so maybe closer to 60. But I think you're going to get some passionate fans, good and bad. I say passion. I mean, look, I really think if this team comes out and goes 3 and out, you get to the end of the first quarter and there's no touchdowns, and then they go 3 and out. Tim, I think to Robin's point there about feeling upset about with some fans, I think you're going to hear some disgruntled Gamecock fans if it's 0-0 or worse, you're trailing at the end of the first quarter.
Well, that's what I'm getting right now off the Cool Care Heating and Air text line. The environment, the expectation. Anonymous Texter says 35-7 Carolina. Troy is not legit. Hasn't played anybody. Our defense will show out. Our offense will show up against an inferior team. And that kind of sets the environment, Bill, for if you're not getting that I understand where you're coming from with the kind of the disgruntled fan prediction. AJ comes at it from a different angle. He says, not on-field related, but a quick thought on the game. I really wish they still went by Troy State, because every time I hear Troy, I feel like we're dealing with some random dude down the street instead of a large college in Alabama. Time to bring back the state for Troy. It is definitely different. And then we got somebody else making a joke. Trey, as it goes with a Trojan War joke. He says the Gamecocks are going to run a trick play after making an audible named Menelaus and win big. +4 turnover margin. Cox by 24-0. So just from
I'm gonna
somebody,
watch Troy, just to get hyped up on Saturday.
Good
You know,
movie.
watch Troy.
I don't think I ever saw
Yeah.
it.
Oh, it's one of my.
It's got Brad
Troy's
Pitt
one
in
of
it,
my
right?
favorite
That's-
movies of all time. Yeah.
It's the Brad Pitt movie,
Yeah.
isn't it?
That's one of my top 5 favorite movies ever.
Yeah.
Danny says that's stupid if anyone boos. Can't stand that. What do you think, Bill?
Well, I don't disagree, but I got a feeling that I really think that there's going to be some fans here who are very passionate. Let's go passionate. I don't think anybody's like Marcus Satterfield will be the target of the boo. You would agree with that, right, Tim? Like I don't think people are going to be happy with the offensive line. I don't think people are going to be maybe thrilled with some things maybe Shane Beamer does or something. But I don't feel like that would be the target of the boos. Maybe if you're going to boo tomorrow, you point at and I'm not suggesting anybody do this. I'm just so fans know you're not booing a player. Maybe you point.
Yeah, because that will
Point.
that would be absorbed.
I
much
mean,
better. I don't I don't think we've gotten to that point, Bill. I think this is again leftover Will Muschamp stuff, man. I really think, like, I get where Robin was coming from about being frustrated and doom and gloom, but again, I think this is the very vocal minority, and I don't think those fans, if they're on the edge, there are some that will be there. I think most of them won't even make the effort to go to the game. I think they'll be tweeting or on Facebook or the whole thing. I understand what you're saying, Bill, but I also have seen it many times, and this is coming from years of experience. You have tons of years of experience watching games at Williams-Brice, and so do I. How many times have you seen someone do that or on the verge of doing that, and as soon as they do, then the rest of the section like turns the head and gives them that disapproval shaking of the head or the whole thing? I think that's what you'll get more of. I think Carolina is still at that point with this first-year coaching staff and everything that Shane Beamer has brought to the program from a positive side, as opposed to where it was just last year, or maybe even the year before that, with the environment that was around the Will Muschamp tenure. Patrick, what are your? It seems like you had some strong thoughts.
I was trying to think of the situations where you boo, and a lot of the times it happens like a 3-and-out off a turnover, or you get yourself to 3rd and 15 and you just run a draw play because you don't want to turn it over. Like, those are the things that where the booing clearly is at the offensive coordinator, the play caller, or the head coach who said be conservative. But if it's like this, they're actually like kind of trying to take shots. So if it's 3rd and 8 and it's just an incomplete pass and people started booing, then it would very much feel like you're booing the players.
Right.
So that's what I'm thinking is would be problematic in that situation.
Yeah, I don't look. I'm not advocating for booing or anything.
I don't think it's going to happen either. By the way, I think South Carolina is going to handle Troy.
I think Gamecock fans right now with the offense are 4 games in. I think most of them seem fed up. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it won't. Hopefully, bottom line is I hope it doesn't happen. I hope that they come out and again, whether they take the ball first, whether they're giving the ball first, take the ball first, whatever happens. I think that. I really do think that they're going to come out and play a good offensive game. I really think that offensively, South Carolina will play their best offensive game to date against Troy. I don't know if that necessarily equates to 30 points or 40 points, but I think it'll be more crisp, and I think you'll continue to see less penalties. But with all that being said, I just fans right now, I think a lot of them are realistic, but they don't understand what's happened with the run game. Like,
Well, yeah, we got a question on the text line to your point, Bill, about where's our fullback? And I don't think it was being an ironic question. I think it was a legit question about where's the Carolina fullback. Mike Bobo is pretty much the only offensive coordinator out there left out of the 130 in college football who utilize the fullback. And there is no fullback for the Gamecocks this year. That is one of the main differences, one of a big difference. Now, sometimes they'll put Jaheim Bell back there and have him as basically a fullback or the H-back situation and make that happen. But that is the rarity right now in Carolina football's offensive scheme under Marcus Satterfield and kind of the meshing of the Joe Brady and then Lincoln Riley, Oklahoma systems out there. NIL allows us to boo now, a texter hit us up with. Scott says, I'll yell at Satterfield from the seats if the offense looks terrible, but I won't boo. And then another anonymous texter says,
what's the difference? What is the difference? Like, he's in an enclosed. I think the booth is enclosed. You yell, like, or does does Scott sit that close to the press box that like, if you're one of the fans that are underneath, that little underneath area?
Throw boiled peanuts at the window to the press box.
You got to have a heck of an
arm. I think people bring carrier pigeons in, and you just strap a note to it, and you send it up there, and you're like, you stink.
Well, the opinion is definitely split from the text there. Totally agree with the leftover from Muschamp comment. Another anonymous texter says we have to think big picture and long term. And then at the same minute, Richard, another texter says, nope, it's the majority. Fans recognize how the offense is right now. 13-10, Troy wins. So a lot of different opinions. I think it's going to be fascinating to see not only what happens on the field, but in the environment around Williams-Brice on Saturday afternoon. We're going to break down our picks for you, picking 5 games across the country, and Carolina and Clemson obviously going into this week. Both teams looking to bounce back and get wins back in the win column and above 500 on the season. We'll do our picks coming up next here. It's the early game. It's 107.5 The Game.
South Carolina head women's basketball coach Dawn Staley, and you're listening to the home of the Gamecocks, WNKT FM.
Lawyer Lisa having her kids on this morning reminded me of what I will enter into here in a few minutes with the 18-month-old tearing up the house. I've told you guys enough about that through the years and months about how Zero Res helps me out around my house. Bill, why don't you tell them what Zero Res does?
I'm excited. Zero Res is coming out soon. Tim deals with a 1-year-old. I deal with like pumpkin spice latte spills when I get all excited at a big display. So Zero Res coming to visit me very soon. I've got tile, I've got hardwoods, I've got carpet, I've got the whole 9 yards. And with the Zero Res and their patented technology that uses high pH electrolyzed water, not harsh chemicals, no sticky soapy residue will be left behind. I am thrilled to get Zero Res out here to not only clean my hardwoods, my tiles, but my carpet as well. You need to do the same. Right now, you can get 3 rooms of carpet cleaned for only $119 when you actually mention me, Bill Gunner, at 107.5 The Game. You can even get your hallway cleaned for free. That's over $75 of total savings. So if you're like Tim and you got kids running around, not only do you want them to be safe because of the way Zero Res cleans the carpet, but you're like me and you just want a clean floor, clean carpet, Zero Res is the way to go. Give them a phone call today, 803-262-4020, 803-262-4020. You can book online, ZeroResColumbia.com. Tim's told you about it for years. I'm telling you about it now. Zero Res, you spell it backwards or forwards. It's the right way to clean, Tim. It is October. It is pumpkin month, right, Patrick? Pumpkin latte. I gotta go get my notebook. We're doing picks right here.
Yeah.
All right, let me go get my notebook.
Getting the Gamecock Larry notebook ready. Yep, Ross. And you didn't have a one-time offensive coordinator putting up numbers with that group. That Bill. No. Patrick, what you watching?
Sweet video the Bengals put out last night of
celebrate
Zach Taylor giving game balls to CJ Uzomah and Joe Burrow. Just fires me up. Joe Burrow's the man.
Agreed. Agreed there, Chuck. Agreed.
I'd go to war with Joe Burrow any day.
I would add, if you want to call yourself a good fan.
Yeah, and
Because there's also that part of me that says, hey, man, you pay your money.
Of course, I'm never a fan of booing when the other team comes on the field. Like, I don't know.
Agreed.
I just think that's kind of dumb. Like, okay, that's your opponent.
Right.
They didn't do anything wrong. It's your opponent. Like, just kind of dumb.
Just boo the refs.
Yeah, and
But we all do agree that booing is much better than whistling, though, right?
Oh yeah. Ugh.
Patrick, you're the cultured one, the young cultured sports fan amongst us internationally. But that you down with the whistling?
Like the people that can do this?
No, that's what they do in Europe instead of boo. They whistle. You know that, right?
It's awful.
No, you didn't know that? Where's your soccer acumen, man? I thought you were a cultured.
International
They
traveler.
just whistle at them?
Yeah.
Not everybody can whistle.
Brutal. I mean,
Anybody can
how
boo. Not
satisfying
everybody can
can that
whistle.
be? Like, I feel like that's the only case for booing is that it makes you feel better after you get out the boo. At least you get it out of your system.
I don't even get it. What do the people do when they can't whistle? There's so many people that can't whistle in this world.
Not in Europe, apparently. I think
Everyone all the Europeans can whistle.
it's very important to express your displeasure with the bad trap that you couldn't control the ball from the goal kick, so you got to boo your player, or the flopping of the other team. You have to,
like
whistle.
kids learn to maybe sing and things in music class. Well, whistling is part of that music class curriculum, I'm guessing.
Okay.
Nice. Oh,
I'm back on the Terps.
Oh no.
3.5. What is it tonight? 3.5.
3. I don't know if it's moved. It's such a bad number, but you know what? Vegas thinks Maryland can win. That actually fired me up. Seeing that number now.
So wait, you don't have you don't have a food plan for tonight? Or are you working?
No, I'm working.
Huh?
Nice work, Anthony. Now, question for these birthday shout outs is always like my dad turned 73 the other day, and I meant to give him a shout out on the show because he listens to the show. I'm guessing Nanny is not taking in the show this morning, but I could be totally wrong. If she is, then certainly happy birthday. Otherwise, I feel like we're just kind of saying happy birthday and no one's hearing it.
Yeah.
Anthony can share.
Happy nonetheless.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Happy
Even
birthday.
if she's not listening, let her
Tequila for
know.
everybody. Isn't Anthony the tequila guy?
Yeah, I think so. Glenn, you missed that show.
Yes.
Maybe that's a callback for Glenn. He's calling that one back.
Andy Griffin.
Got our 5 games.
Seriously.
Yeah.
You know the Andy Griffith whistling at the beginning of the show, right, Patrick?
Yeah, but he said Andy Griffin.
Yeah, is it Griffin or Griffith?
Griffith.
Griffith.
We have the
Archie
whole Andy Griffith box set. It was one of the first presents I can remember getting my mom for Christmas. Like my dad bought it, just put from the kids, was the Andy Griffith TV show box set.
Yep. Did that
Yeah,
for Dad.
Andy Griffin. He was 3 doors. He was the neighbor, 3 doors down from Andy Griffith. A lot of confusion.
Peter
the mail was
Griffin
always
was?
going to the wrong place. Hope.
Wow.
All right, let me get the numbers.
All right, we're about to head back in.
Richard going for worst fan of the day, says he's going to be at the Georgia-Arkansas game, but we'll be booing from there.
It's a good attitude.
Awesome.
I like the guy who yelled at me or criticized me for predicting booing, but then saying it shouldn't happen. Like it's like me predicting South Carolina to lose to Georgia, but saying I don't want it to happen.
All right, here we go.
All right.
Guys are up.
If you're new to the show, you maybe joined late this morning, you can always go to our podcast page, 1075thegame.com, and check out selected segments from the morning show. YouTube as well. See the entire show archived each and every day from the video standpoint. College football picks around the country. Patrick would pick 5 games every week. How does this week's slate compare to the other 4 weeks that we've already picked?
Excellent. I'm fired. I'm fired up for this weekend. And you know what? The best part is that the games are mostly getting off early. The Clemson games at 7:30. Don't really care about that one. We will pick it anyway, though.
Okay, let's do it. Let's get into. All right, we'll pick Carolina Clemson last, like we typically do. We'll build up that. What do we got first?
Start, dude. First game, college game day. Arkansas, Georgia. Georgia's getting 18.5 at home.
Strong start. 18.5.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead. Where are you going?
Give me the 18. I'm laying the 18.5. Number one, KJ Jefferson is probably going to play, but apparently it's come out that he's kind of questionable for this week, a little banged up. Not the time to be banged up going to face that Georgia defense. I'm starting to buy into Patrick's pick of Georgia as the national championship team. I think the offense is clicking, the defense is definitely clicking. 18.5 seems like a lot, not for this Georgia team. They roll.
Yep. I feel like I got to just keep rolling with Georgia. Been on them since before the season. Darnell Washington is back, so this is possibly their best offensive player is coming back. They haven't had him yet. They've been that impressive. And Tyke Smith, the transfer from West Virginia, ranked, I think, the number 1 transfer in the country. He is a beast. He's back, too, so the defense actually just got better. Georgia, steamroll.
18.5. What's Arkansas going to have to do to gain our respect?
Beat Georgia.
Yeah.
You've already knocked off
beat Georgia. No, you don't have to beat Georgia. Lose to Georgia by less than 2 touchdowns. I'll be super impressed. I will say Arkansas is legit.
Beat Texas A&M already. To me, Arkansas has my respect, has earned it. And what's Georgia's best win this year? When they won defensive touchdown against Clemson? A Clemson team that we've seen that is just not very good this year.
Haven't played okay.
So to me, this is way too many points. If Georgia covers the spread here against Arkansas, then I'll give what you guys are talking about. And Patrick, sometimes the on paper addition doesn't work out on the field. The Georgia defense can't be much better than they played already.
No, they can't. But the offense can.
Good.
But you can get guys playing for the first time that make mistakes or have miscommunication in the whole deal. That line is just ridiculous. If it was, I think the lowest I would go would be Georgia by 10 in this thing. I would still take Georgia to win the game straight up, but I think it's going to be a good one. And
statement game.
Okay, statement game. I understand what you guys are saying. I'm going the other way, and I'm happy to have 18.5 points with Arkansas. All right, game number 2, Patrick.
Let's just go in chronological order here. I'm really pumped for this game. This is one that was circled as, will the group of 5 team have a chance in the college football playoff this year? And people said, if Cincinnati beats Notre Dame on the road, they will make it. So Cincinnati's actually favored by 1.5 against Notre Dame.
Okay, where you going?
I think I'm going to take Cincinnati. I'm very surprised that Notre Dame is a home dog, but I was also very surprised that they were a 6.5 point dog in Chicago last weekend. But I think Cincinnati's just super legit. Their defense is awesome. Ahmad Sauce Gardner will be a first-round pick at corner, and their quarterback, Desmond Ridder, I think is a stud. I like him a lot. So I think I'm going to take Cincinnati.
Wow. Bill, you?
Luke Fickell is just one of the best football coaches in the country. So
this is Cincinnati's Super Bowl. I've seen some stuff this week. This is because of what Patrick just said. If they win the game, they do still need to win out. They do still need to win the conference championship. But if they win this, they have a very legitimate chance to be in the college football playoff. And with that being said, it's the biggest game ever in Cincinnati football history. How do you prepare for that, man? And Notre Dame, look, I'm a Brian Kelly fan. I'm not sure Cincinnati's not the better team, but the game's in South Bend. Brian Kelly finds a way to win these things. It's a close spread. And I think Notre Dame just – I don't know if Notre Dame's good. The game against Florida State, I don't really put a whole lot of stock into the game against Wisconsin because Wisconsin doesn't look very good. But, guys, I'm going to take the home underdog here. Give me Notre Dame. Brian Kelly finds a way to push his team past them in what could be the game of the weekend.
All right, Kelly just took over the all-time career wins record at Notre Dame. I mean, we don't give him enough credit. And I think just because Notre Dame is such the evil wrestler in college football, I feel like every time, Bill, as you were describing this, when is the time that a group of 5 team won a game like this? I feel like you almost get it every single year, and it never works out, and they never get to be legitimately in the conversation. Patrick, did you have an answer for that question?
No, I was going to say that's exactly what I'm thinking too. So this is a heart pick for me, not a head pick. And I think America undoubtedly is pulling for Cincinnati. There is
absolutely
no one that is not a Notre Dame fan pulling for Notre Dame in this game, right? Absolutely.
I completely want Cincinnati to win the game. I'm picking Notre Dame because usually what I want to happen on Saturdays and what actually happens doesn't work out. So that's how I look at this thing. All right, game number 3, Patrick. What's the one game left that's not Carolina and Clemson we're picking this week?
CBS, Ole Miss, Alabama. Ole Miss had a bye week last week. 12 or 13 in the country. Can't remember which one. Heading to Tuscaloosa. About Bama's laying 14.5 at home.
Okay. Bill, we'll let you pick this one first.
Florida exposed – yeah, this one's tough. Florida exposed that Alabama defense a little bit. Alabama will score on Ole Miss. They're going to do that. I'll go that 14.5. If this was 13.5, I would take the chance on Alabama to win by 2 touchdowns. But that 14.5, I can see a very late score from Lane Kiffin and Mississippi to like throw it underneath. You can see something like, say, 48-34, 49-35, some of that ballpark. Patrick, I think you said the over-under on this is ridiculous. I believe you said 79 yesterday.
Yes.
Yeah. I'll take the chance that a late touchdown throws Mississippi into that hook of a point there. I think Alabama wins, but I'll take the betting edge on that when you get the 2 touchdowns plus the half a point and take my chance with Mississippi.
So 79 does sound ridiculous, right? But what was the score the last time they played?
62-48 last year.
63-48. So, I mean, that destroyed the over. And then that's also 15 points right there. Ole Miss is better than they were last year. And Alabama is substantially worse than they were last year. I don't think this is the same Bama team as last year. I think they're good. I think they deserve to be number 1 until they lose. And I don't think they're going to lose. But I think Ole Miss is going to keep this thing very, very close. I think Ole Miss is legit, and they're going to cover the 14.5 easily. And it will be a competitive ball game until the very end.
You're taking Bama. Are you willing to take a chance on the money line? Is this the one?
I will definitely take a chance on the Ole Miss money line.
I mean, if this, Tim, I apologize. I'll let you make your pick in a second. But is this the one? If Mississippi wins, this is the one that throws college football into complete chaos, right? Like we've seen the upsets. You've seen Ohio State go down. Obviously, Clemson's stinky this year. But this is the one that absolutely turns college football upside down on the second day of October, right?
No doubt.
Yeah. It opened at 17.5 too, so
I hear what you guys are saying. And Bill, I agree with you on a possible backdoor cover is the only way this thing happens, because you guys remember the on-field interview with Nick Saban after last year's game. He was so angry and embarrassed, and the relationship with Lane Kiffin being what it is, I think Nick Saban has been preparing for this revenge for a long, long time, and there's no way I can pick against Alabama in this situation. I hear what you guys are saying. I hope Ole Miss wins the football game. It certainly keeps it close. Well, that's the thing, right?
Lane Kiffin. Yeah.
Lane Kiffin became a sympathetic character more than he's ever been this week after who went off on him?
Michael Wilbon. What a ridiculous.
Michael Wilbon went off on him.
Michael Wilbon hasn't watched college football in 10 years.
He's a Northwestern guy. What do you expect? But, yeah, this thing has changed and morphed so much, and now we're expecting Ole Miss to score a bunch of points on Alabama. And I think that is a recipe for Nick Saban to step up once again and to slap down his former assistants like he always does. The question is that 14.5. I'm willing to I think that is a bit of a Vegas trick. I'm going to take Alabama to cover on this thing. So I'm different with you guys on this one. Patrick's the only one picking Cincinnati, and I'm different with you guys on Georgia and Arkansas. Go ahead.
So who's more likely to lose, number 1 or number 2?
To lose the game?
Yes, to lose the football game.
I'll take.
I think
I'll
number
take
2.
I'll take number 1. See, yeah, Tim's going opposite. I think Georgia wins in that game.
I think Ole Miss has a much better chance to beat Alabama than Arkansas does Georgia.
We'll see how it plays out for sure. I completely disagree with you guys on that one. All right, let's get to what's the Clemson line this week?
We're going to do 14.5.
Okay.
It's in Clemson.
Where are you going with it? You're going Clemson?
No, I'm going to go Boston College. 14.5. Clemson's offense hasn't even proven that they can score 14 against a decent team. So I don't know. BC will score a couple points. I wasn't totally impressed by them against Missouri. I thought Missouri played a bad football game, but yeah, I'll take the points.
Bill?
I like Jeff Hafley, man. Go back last year, and DJU makes his first start there, and Boston College is up 28-13 at halftime. Had him on the ropes. DJU brought him back last year. That offense was a lot better. Travis Etienne, they had a running game. They don't have a running game this year. The offensive line is a shell of itself. This is not a good Clemson team, and I don't know if they're going to get any better. Clemson has become kind of the laughing stock of the country right now for the way that things have completely come unglued and right now hanging in there at number 25. Man, I like Jeff Hafley, and they're going to play with their backup quarterback. They're running the ball well with I think it's Garwo? Is that how you say his name? Pat Garwo's got 412 yards on the season and 4 touchdowns. I'm shocked by the line. Like, my initial thought is actually to take Clemson, though, because Vegas, I feel like Vegas knows something that we don't when I see a line this big. Y'all kind of a real quick, I'm going to take Boston College, but Patrick, everything you just mentioned, when you see a line this big, Clemson coming off, do you feel like Vegas knows something that we don't?
I think Vegas is scared of putting a single-digit line on Clemson because everyone's going to bet it. I think if they put 7.5, like we speculated that it could be, it's just going to move so much and they'll be really exposed.
I'm kind of with you. If it was a single-digit line, I'd probably take Clemson. Double digits, and again, part of what I'm playing here is the hook on this, the 14.5. I feel like I'm playing more of a betting angle than I am who's better, who can do it. I'll take Boston College in 14.5, though.
I got Clemson here for the same reasons I have Alabama. Embarrassed and a chip on the shoulder. So much talent. Boston College is I feel like a fad right now in college football after.
They lost their starting quarterback, too, and still beat Missouri.
I don't see it happening here. I think Clemson will get back on track to some degree. I agree with you guys that they're not the team they've been in the past, but
and they're real beaten up right now. Breesy out for the year.
They are. Tyler Davis and Breesy up the middle. That's another thing.
Will Shipley as well out, but I'm going to go with Clemson here and give those 14.5 points. All right, the Carolina, we're going to go 6.5 is where it is right now. And I think that's an important number to me. That's an easy take for Carolina in this ball game. If it was 7.5, it would be a little bit different. I'm going to pick the Gamecocks to cover and do it relatively comfortably. I think that the matchup on paper, who Troy has played, has those defensive numbers inflated. The Gamecocks have plenty to prove on offense, and to do it against a group of 5 team, I think they'll be able to get the run game going to some degree, which will open up the offense, and they win this thing by double digits is how I see it. So I got Carolina minus the 6.5 here. Patrick, you're shaking your head. What do you got?
Yep, I would agree. I don't know that it's going to be I think it'll be a double digit win. I think it'll be comfortable. I don't know that South Carolina will score enough points to make it, an egregious victory, but I could see 20 to 7 or something like that. Just a low scoring but convincing win. So I will take South Carolina, but I will still probably take the under.
Bill, how do you see it?
Yeah, I really, I mean, unless South Carolina's defense just has been reading their own press clippings and doing that, they should have a lot of success against Troy. I think South Carolina finds a way to manufacture some points. It'll be a week where maybe, again, the defense either scores a touchdown or sets South Carolina for a very short very short field touchdown. I'll take the points. I don't know what to expect from South Carolina. I'm almost leaning to one of two things happening. South Carolina wins this thing by 2 touchdowns and everybody feels a little bit better. Or the exact opposite happens and South Carolina loses like 10-7 and Monday is a complete disaster. And I'll go with the positive guy here and I'll take South Carolina to cover the 6.5. But I really do not know what to expect from the South Carolina offense. I think they play better. I'm going to take the Gamecocks, but man, I don't know.
803-404-6100 if you'd like to get in a final word. Dramatic conclusion of the program coming up. It's the early game on 107.5 again.
If South Carolina does lose this weekend, the pain you're going to feel almost as bad as if you're having pain in your lower back, in your shoulders, in your neck. Trust me, it's going to be pretty darn close. Now, the good news with the South Carolina loss, you can't really fix that. That's just that pain's going to stay there. But if you currently have pain in your lower back, in your neck, in your arms, there's a resolution for that. It's called Casey Chiropractic Center. The great doctors, Dr. Pate, Dr. Roman Cooper, 40 combined years of experience in the industry. They are in the business of getting people out of pain. And you know what? They're not going to really be able to help you with anything that may happen this weekend, but they can help you right now. If you're experiencing back pain, if you need some disc work, they are able to do it. And here's the best part. This is why I believe in Dr. Pate and Dr. Roman Cooper. They have a non-surgical approach to fixing the issues. They want to work with you and not put you through some kind of crazy get better health type plan. You can pay as you go. They're there to work with you. As a matter of fact, research shows that disc herniation size up to 90% in the majority of patients. If you get it worked on, it can decrease pain by over 90%. They have an Acuspina machine that is fantastic. I saw it. Thank goodness I don't have that kind of pain just yet and don't have to work on that kind of machine. But you know what? If you do, you know what I'm talking about. And the doctors, they are fantastic. Dr. Pate, Dr. Roman Cooper, Casey Chiropractic Center. Give them a phone call today, 803-796-2424. Hopefully the amount of points South Carolina scores this weekend. 796-2424. They file all major insurance plans. Hey, Casey Chiropractic Center. They are in the business of getting you better. And if you're feeling some pain right now, give them a phone call. 803-796-2424. That's Dr. Pate, Dr. Roman Cooper with Casey Chiropractic Center.
So Troy goes with Arkansas, Notre Dame, Ole Miss, BC, and the Gamecocks, but he says he'll only be putting money on Notre Dame in this group. I would not be confident in laying money down on that game.
Yeah, I don't even know if there's anything I went 5-10 last week in the little pick'em contest that I'm in with some friends. It was not a good weekend.
Wow. Interesting. It's an odd number. Mike said Gamecocks will beat Troy by 26.
Okay. Hey, he had a dream. He figured out how to get there.
I hope that the Georgia game is not close because they don't have to have 4 screens up at 3:30, and that is going to be too many.
So that's the bigger problem.
Yeah, because the Alabama game will have to be on, and then the Cincinnati game will have to be on. I can't have the 12 o'clock game still being competitive at 3:30 as well, because it'll still be on.
Who y'all like? Tennessee, Missouri is -2.5 at noon against Tennessee. There's a interesting game that we don't.
Missouri.
Sure.
You lean in Missouri?
Do in that one. Yeah, coming off not playing well.
I'm starting to buy into the Terps. I think they're going to do it. I'm confident
Again, we're
now.
fired up throughout the show.
Yeah.
Poor Patrick.
Talia's been great. Over 1,000 yards, 10 touchdowns, 1 pick. He's protecting the football. Maryland's got a couple pros at receiver.
You're doing exactly what you said happens to Maryland every year, right?
Yep.
Okay, as long as you know.
Exactly what happened.
That's okay. It's like it's Lucy pulling the football out from Charlie Brown. Here we go.
Iowa can't score unless their defense does the scoring.
What time is that game tonight? 9 o'clock?
8.
Okay. All right.
I wish it was at 7.
Yeah, it's pretty late.
And it's probably not going to start at 8.
It's not what they got a game before it. Could run long.
No, they just never start on time. Nothing ever starts on time. The
Tell us
South
about
Carolina
it, old
game.
man.
I don't know if anybody on here watches on the
Tell
ESPN
us about
app.
it, Pop.
Right?
I don't know if anybody here watches on the ESPN app, but when South Carolina plays, the link for the game does not work until 5 minutes into the game. Like if it's a noon game and you click on the link at noon, it says event starts at noon, and I'm like, yeah, it is noon. Play the game, and I have to keep closing out the app, refreshing it, opening it back up. It's the worst.
So, I'm sorry to derail your old man rant. I'm watching the Alfred Dunhill Links Championship over at Carnoustie Golf Channel. I've never seen this happen before. Tim, what I'm about to explain, have you ever seen this happen in golf?
Okay, we've got about 15 seconds before we start our returns.
Dude just hit his approach shot. It missed the green left. A fan there has a dog. The dog picked it up.
Stop it.
That's awesome.
Like just the dog kind of went underneath the ropes, grabbed the ball. All of a sudden, like 3 of the spectators like, put it down. They're like opening the dog's mouth, get the ball out, flip it back out.
Where's that in the rule book?
Yeah, Travis, Maryland's definitely
When are
going
dogs
to lose.
allowed on golf courses during a tournament? What English rule is this?
Wow. All right, guys are up.
Well done, Travis, holding Patrick accountable. 2 weeks ago, Patrick, you said take Maryland every week, but don't take them when they play Iowa. And now you're talking about Maryland against Iowa. He said,
Yeah. Maryland shrinks in big games every year, but not this year. Not tonight. Not this team.
Yeah, Tua's little brother.
We play them 10 times, they might beat us 9, but not tonight. Not
tonight.
this game.
interesting. All over Twitter and the tweets coming in and the texts coming in. I meant to say, Josh says, I get the frustration with the offense from the Gamecock standpoint. It's not good by any stretch of the imagination. However, folks' lack of patience drives me nuts. You talk about running the offensive coordinator out of town 4 games in is absolute insanity. Breathe. Yeah, I'm with you, Josh. And I think that's what will happen, the performance for Carolina tomorrow. I think will allow Gamecocks to breathe a little bit after these first 4 games. And I get the frustration, but the intensity of the immediacy is I think the part that Josh and I are exactly on the same page there, Bill, about exactly you have to have it now, and maybe not understanding the drastic switch in offensive systems between what Marcus Satterfield and Shane Beamer want to do as opposed to what Mike Bobo did last year and the success that he had. But again, relative success, Bill. We're talking about, they were able to run the football, but they didn't do it in wins. They weren't a good offense. And just because you're not seeing a good offense, but you're seeing it in a different way this year, I think has a lot of Gamecock fans way too close to the edge right now with what they're seeing on offense. And I think we will see a performance on Saturday that will bring them back from the edge a little bit and allow them to breathe. You don't necessarily have the confidence in that happening tomorrow.
I don't know what we're going to see. I think it's the start of a huge 3-game stretch. This game, obviously, Tennessee, Vanderbilt, all winnable. You'll be favored at least in 2 of them. If your offense is clicking the way the defense is playing, it makes you feel so good about going to Tennessee and giving yourself a chance to win. And let's be honest, Patrick had it picked at 5-2 after the first 7, and then that backstretch comes. Man, if you're 5-2 in Beamer's first year, I know that there's not a marquee signature victory. You probably take the Tennessee one because of where each team is in the division. But the bottom line is, if you're at 5-2 in Beamer's first year, you feel great about the program. And quite honestly, it's very doable with a competent offense. That's what you want to see tomorrow.
Gamecock Larry says 38-10 Gamecocks.
Woo! Nice work, Jen, getting that prediction in. So he would be in second place voting today in the poll question. The Gamecocks win by 14 or more points, gets 32% of the vote. Gamecocks winning and covering, but not winning in the blowout fashion, is first place today with 45% of the vote going, but a win between 7 and 13 points. That's kind of what I'm seeing in this thing, 20-7-ish. That's where I see this game coming up tomorrow afternoon. The Gamecocks winning a close one's in second place today with 16% of the vote, and Troy pulling the upset just at fourth, 6% of the vote. Fun week. Monday will be very interesting, as always, on the program. Thanks for listening to us here on the early game on 107.5 The Game.
Yeah, Larry literally just called. He's like, got it, that's how it's going to be.
That's awesome. How did he sound? Did he sound strong this morning?
He sounded better.
Good.
Better than he has past few calls. So
Now I really feel like my dad. I feel like is always my dad. How did it sound? How did it sound?
Right. Yeah.
All right, guys. Oh, Mark, good luck with that. How about that? I hope that's on at 5:30 this weekend. You mean on Sunday, right? You're not doing vow renewal on a Saturday in the fall, are you? Thanks, Hope. Have a great weekend. Oh, Anthony, I meant to get your comment there as the dramatic conclusion of the show. That's how you know you're having a good morning.
Yep.
Tequila Anthony it is.
Tequila Anthony.
Love it.
We have to we'll have to change the logo for the whiteboard, maybe. Have a Tequila Anthony on there,
True.
sponsored by Tequila Anthony. Oh, Mark. Oh, Mark. Disappointing, sir. Travis, you do as well. See you guys on Monday.